Morning, Trent.
Morning.
When do you fly out?
Noon. Quarter to
okay.
noon, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I gotta tell myself it's quarter to noon, so I'm not late.
Are you TSA?
No.
Okay, well.
RSW. I'm just, easy in, easy out.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, at least.
I'd be leaving right after the show.
I am. I'm packed already. Just gonna grab my stuff and go. Flying American too, which I haven't.
Where do you got to connect?
Charlotte. So the whole trip's gonna take about 5 hours. It's only like an hour layover, but it's two 2-hour flights. That's something I've noticed right away since season is kind of winding down as the flights are very different. Less options and more expensive.
Yeah. You'll have to start looking at Punta Gorda if you got to blast up.
Yeah.
The Punta Gorda Frontier's got direct flights to Grand Rapids. It's a lot cheaper. About a 40-minute drive.
That's nothing. All right, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It is a great day. The Masters gets underway. At some point today, they've got rain right now. And probably our favorite little event, the Frozen Four, gets underway as well. It's a Miller and Moulton thing. It should be in Tampa every year. Hold on one second. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. How are you on this fine Thursday morning?
I'm doing good. I feel a little bit like the folks in Augusta, though. I'm a little, little soggy. I'm on a little bit of a delay right now. I'm not as ready to start as I thought I would be this morning. And maybe it's because there's rain in Augusta, David.
You feel a little soggy? What are you, a cornflake that, sitting in milk for a little too long? How does that actually feel?
A little heavier than normal. A little slower.
Okay. And that's strictly because it's raining in Augusta.
Yeah, I don't know why it is, but that's what I'm chalking it up to.
So the rain in Augusta is affecting your bones. Let's see. That's a good 10-hour drive away.
Not even leisurely, David.
No, it is not. You know why? Because you have to make a turn. Okay. See, where you are, straight up I-75, you can go all the way to Atlanta. That's leisurely. Time consuming, but leisurely. But once you get near Atlanta, you got to make a right. Now it's no longer leisurely. Now it's a drive because there's a turn involved. So you and I used to make leisurely drives. 3 hours here, 5 hours there, 7 hours there. They're straight driving. That's it. Once we got on the road, baby, boom. Once you get off I-75, all bets are off. Then it's a drive. It's no longer leisurely. But, two of our favorite events get underway. I know that 13 of you pay attention to the Frozen Four. I don't know what to tell you. College hockey's cool. All right, single elimination event. They only invite 16 teams. No, or are they up to 24 now?
No,
They expanded.
16.
It's just 16, right? They're talking
Yeah.
about expanding it, but they have resisted the World Cup temptation. It's just 16. Single elimination, get this sucker over with, bada bing, bada boom. Minneapolis, St. Paul playing host to the Frozen Four this year. But the Masters, we got to come up with a poll question. We have been bad this week with our poll questions.
Well, we've had a couple. I mean,
Yeah.
we're like Meatloaf. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I know, but we've been late. I mean, he at least released that album and 8-track on time. Speaking of which, so Bon Jovi, I know your favorite group, just bear with me. So they announced apparently, because it's like 40 years this is since their first album.
Okay.
Their self-titled album was 40 years ago. And so they're coming out with another album. I don't know how much of it's new music. I think all of it is. But anyway, they said they're going to release it on vinyl, CD, and cassette. Basically, just for old time's sake.
Don't know anybody that still has a cassette player.
I
mean,
know.
The vinyl thing, I get. Vinyl outsold CD last year. I mean, vinyl's
Right.
Vinyl's back. I mean,
Right.
is as back as anything could be that's not digital from a musical standpoint.
For sure.
Nothing comes close to what we download, obviously. But yes, vinyl has made a huge comeback.
And so I think just for old time's sake, basically spanning their career, it's like these are the 3 ways that we distributed our product, at least that you could physically touch it. And so, you know what, just for old time's sake, send the bill to us. We'll pay for it. We're going to release it in vinyl, CD, and cassette.
All right. Well, if that doesn't age you, I don't know what will.
It's going to say if that doesn't show their age, I don't know what will. But good show lined up today. We'll go to soggy Augusta. Ron Sirak will join us in about 90 minutes time. We'll preview the NFL draft some more. It's 2 weeks today, baby. Let's go. Chad Forbes, the draft is what he lives for. He will join us in a couple hours, and we'll talk a little baseball. We've given the season a couple weeks. We've let about 137 pitchers, go on the injured list. The Marlins have won 2 games in 2 weeks.
I was going to say, let's give it up for the Marlins. They were winners last night. All right.
Yeah. In honor of the Marlins, we figured we'd talk a little baseball.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's our show lined up for you today. So our long national nightmare may be over.
Which one?
Well, it's all relative. I was thinking about the NHL in Phoenix. Just thought that'd be, a little one-liner there. Boom. Because I don't know if it's anybody's nightmare. In fact, I don't know how many people are even aware. But
in Phoenix.
In Phoenix, right. Because apparently the NHL, they're putting 2 schedules together for next year. That's never good, by the way. And it's all because this one team, they don't know where they're going to be playing. That doesn't really bode well for where they're currently playing, does it?
It really does not, David.
No. Because there's a lot involved in making a schedule. Arena availability and all. So yeah, Salt Lake City trying to become a player. Because I guess the Winter Olympics and the Jazz aren't enough. They need more.
Well, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
They are raising their hand saying we're ready for more teams.
Yeah. We basically want to become Nashville of the West, minus the partying. Because we don't do that here to the extent that you do it elsewhere. Although we do, but that's off the field. Hello. Is this on? I'm telling you, I'm fired up today. See, I've had 2 good nights sleep in a row and a nap. All right. I've had a lot of rest the last 2 days. I am feeling it. This feels like a Monday to me. I feel so good.
Wow.
I know. You're feeling heavy, soggy.
Soggy.
Trent's got one leg already out the door. He's got a noon flight. He's got his luggage next to him in the studio. He gone. I'm fired up. I'm
Well, that's
feeling
good.
light as a feather.
Look like you're going to go after a foul ball. You're so jumpy this morning.
Exactly, man. Like, give me the cones. I'll do the shuttle right now. You know what I will say? That the net thing. All right, I was never good at the net. The feet in the net. The
Right.
squares and whatever.
Uh-huh.
That was a trip to the ER waiting to happen every single time. That was a reason to give up football right there.
So the agility drill, not your favorite.
Not the net. I mean, get me going side to side a little bit. It's straight ahead. I'm not very fast. Side to side, for whatever reason, a little more quickness. The whole feet in the net. Oh no, man! I never would have made it in the Army for a bunch of reasons. Probably not respecting authority enough really would have held me back.
That would have been on the top of the list. I mean, sure, the obstacle course may have given you difficulty, David, but the whole authority thing would have really been a hindrance to you in the armed forces.
I know, because my understanding is when you raise your hand and go, "Can we discuss this?" The answer is no.
Always.
Right. And I need to talk things out. I need to come to an understanding. This whole my way or the highway thing, it except with my mother, it doesn't work with me.
Well, you'd have been in great shape.
I would have.
You'd have done a lot of push-ups.
Yeah, that's another thing. I was never good at push-ups. Also, climbing the rope. You know what? Come to think of it, there's a lot of reasons why me in the Army wouldn't have been good for me. They would have used me as ammunition, I think, by the end. They just would have stuffed me in something and said, "Oh, fire him."
All I'm seeing is you as John Candy in stripes. What, you got a 6 to 8 week training program around here, which is perfect for me.
Exactly.
That's all I'm seeing.
You got a king and a jack and an 8. Now, if you had 3 of those kings, you would have won. That's why they call me Mr. Vegas. But hey, there was no woo pig suey from John Cal yesterday. I'm very disappointed.
No, but he did let all of us know that God helped him make the decision.
Which is funny. Okay, not saying that John's not a person of faith, but I thought it was. Did God tell him that the Kentucky didn't want him anymore? I mean, just because that's really what drove this. I mean,
but he said he talked to his priest, and the priest said, "Go for a walk. Go for an hour walk, imagining you're the coach of Arkansas, and walk back an hour, imagining you're at Kentucky, and then you will know."
Right. That's possible. That's entirely possible. That's kind of like if you sit down and you draw the line in the middle of the paper, right? Kentucky on the left, Arkansas on the right. I mean, that's kind of the same exercise. You go for a walk. On your way out, you're coaching one program. On the way back, you're coaching another. How do you feel? Which one felt better? Which walk did you walk right into a tree because you weren't paying attention? And which walk were you skipping down the sidewalk? Okay. But I love the fact in which he said, quote, "We've met with the team. We have no team." Wow. Okay. I'll bet there's a few guys on scholarship at Arkansas right now that went, "Wait, what did he say? Is that our coach? We're not on the team. What happened? I'm not going to have to return these sweats, am I?" So
he's portaling.
Oh, meanwhile, Mark, if you've committed to Kentucky or you're currently at Kentucky, you gone. They are leaving in droves.
Of course they are.
And meanwhile, Kentucky's saying to Scott Drew, "No, really, take more time. No, really, every hour that you stay in Waco, this is really helping us a lot." Hey, I'm just curious. When you get offered the Kentucky job, if you don't immediately say yes, isn't the answer no?
Not always.
Put it this way. You're Kentucky. I'm the guy you're offering the job to. If you offer it to me and I don't say yes, what do you think the answer is?
I think the answer is no. Time to move on.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So this morning on the way to work, actually, I listened to She Don't Know Me by Bon Jovi on that first album.
Okay.
And you're proud of that?
I just wanted to tell you. I didn't think that was worthy of on the air, but I just wanted to tell you that. Funny coincidence. David brings that same album up.
Did you hear Only Lonely?
No.
Which is probably their, let's see, Runaway, Only Lonely, probably the two songs that carried them until all hell broke loose.
Back in the
80s. Trent, we had U2, Bon Jovi, Michael Jackson, and Madonna, who were all taking turns ruling the world for about a 5-6 year period of time.
Yeah, it would have been glorious. I'm sad I missed that.
The videos and the hair were amazing. Mark and I took our wives to see Bon Jovi in Orlando. We're about 30 minutes into the concert, and Mark says loudly enough for all of us to hear, "I'm never doing this again." God, they suck.
At least we had good seats.
Sounds like you stand by it, too.
Meanwhile, our wives were just ready to throw themselves on stage. Trent, you guys got Chop Robinson in a mock draft I saw yesterday.
Lovely.
And McKinstry fell all the way to 30. So you guys had your choice.
I'd take either guy, to be honest. It's just got to be defense.
I'm just worried that Chop Robinson is a workout guy and not a production guy.
Yeah.
He looks great, but I don't know about his production.
Got to get someone on the other end to complement Hutchinson. I mean, Hutch was like I think he was top 3 in the league in pressures. He just his sack numbers, the ratio was terrible because you can't get home.
Because he's good, not great.
Yeah, that's probably true. But that draft, I don't know who else who else I would have wanted it too.
No, you need to compliment him though.
Right.
The other thing is that he's got to get a little better. He can't draw a holding penalty.
Yeah, that's true.
His reputation hasn't, because they don't call any holds blocking him. Yeah, but Kilos Parsons was better at Penn State than Chop Robinson. I mean, come on. By the way, there are whispers that Micah's a pain in the butt in Dallas.
I think they're just trying to drive his value down before they pay him. Seriously. I seriously think that's what the Cowboys are doing.
I don't know who I want to answer in this poll question.
Scheffler, LIV, or the field?
Mm-hmm.
The field. Always the field.
We did that EB earlier in the week, didn't we? Does Tiger make the cut? Didn't we do that?
Yep, we did that
Yeah, we did that yesterday.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. Good show lined up for you today. We'll talk a little golf, a little football, a little baseball. Huh? How about that? Hope your week's going well. You've gotten over the hump. We can darn near see the finish line from here. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's a little early to hit you with as much meat and potatoes as I'm going to hit you with right now. So I'm going to apologize in advance, okay? Feel free to stop me at any point in time. You ready?
I'm ready.
C.W. Lambert is the guy's name. He's a Big 12 insider.
Okay.
So says he, because his handle is inside the Big 12.
Ooh. Is he based
Okay.
out of Utah?
No, he's based out of Morgantown, West Virginia.
Okay,
Hello.
Big 12 country.
Well, it is. Come on.
I know.
Should it be? That's a whole other story. Okay. So he basically said, listen, I was going to write up this story, but it would take too long. So you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there on X. He says, I've got some legit insider information from a source in the broadcasting industry. I have to assume that's ESPN because here's the story. ESPN has approached Florida State, Clemson, and the ACC about a settlement. It would allow the Seminoles and the Tigers to leave the ACC whenever they want, but the deal's only possible if they go to the SEC. And we all know why, because ESPN is the exclusive broadcast partner of the SEC, just like they're the exclusive, basically, broadcast partner of the ACC, so ESPN doesn't want to lose the property. All right? ESPN would not lose money if they go to the SEC. The basics of the settlement are this. Florida State and Clemson would pay an exit fee, pretty much what Texas and Oklahoma paid to the Big 12, and they would pay a percentage. The ACC would retain the rights to Florida State and Clemson home games, but license those rights to ESPN for SEC broadcasts. The ACC receives 50% of fair market value of those games in both football and basketball. The percentage the ACC would receive would decrease every year. ESPN would then pick up the option on the ACC contract, ensuring that it stays in existence through 2036, but would renegotiate, lowering the money that they give the ACC because of the loss of Florida State and Clemson. Okay, the SEC, by the way, would also be contractually obligated to play top-tier ACC programs every year. Okay, the proposed settlement mitigates the damages to everybody. The ACC survives. Okay, their losses are offset by the percentage of the money that Florida State and Clemson is going to be paying them and that they're going to be making off them. Florida State and Clemson win by leaving the ACC. 50% of the SEC is more than 100% of the ACC. Everyone saves legal fees and embarrassment. All right. And what C.W. Lambert is saying is, one, he doesn't know if the ACC will go for it. But what ESPN is basically going to do is stare into the heart and soul of the ACC and say, let me tell you about the story of the Pac-12. Because apparently, according to C.W. Lambert here, ESPN is going to politely look at them and say, listen, if you guys don't settle this Florida State Clemson thing, we're not going to pick up our option on your contract, which means you're not going to have any TV revenue in 3 years. Good luck. So he expects a settlement that will allow Florida State and Clemson to play in the SEC by 2026. So there you go. I haven't seen that anywhere else. C.W. Lambert, a, quote, Big 12 insider, unquote, getting all this information from a TV source. I have to believe it's somebody who has an office in Bristol. Have to. Either that or he's getting it from somebody at a school who is getting it directly from the horse's mouth. What do you think?
It's fascinating. It shows you how much, if true, David, how scared ESPN is of Fox and of losing properties to the Big Ten.
Right.
And this screams, keep it in-house. And the house is ESPN.
Keeping the Big Ten out of their southern footprint where football is most popular. Absolutely. A lot of noise has been made in recent days, Mark, because technically the ACC has sued Florida State and Clemson, but especially Florida State. Well, apparently all the other schools in the conference have gone along with it, which means that technically Miami is suing Florida State. Some people at Florida State are looking at Miami like, really? And yet deep down, we know you want to come with us. Kiss my is what some of the people in Tallahassee are now saying. Kind of like, yeah, welcome to the Big 12. Because we are going to make sure you don't follow us to the Big Ten if you want to play this kind of hardball. Really? You couldn't just sit this one out. You couldn't be neutral, huh? This couldn't be a shootout or overtime loss. You couldn't get your point and take it and go home? Okay. Now, first off, if you're the ACC, would you accept the deal?
Boy.
Survival, guaranteed survival for 12 more years.
It is survival.
Guaranteed survival for 12 more years.
If it wasn't for the out of ESPN in 3 years, I don't know if I would. But ESPN looks to have complete control over what the future of the ACC is.
If Florida State and Clemson leaves, according to this source, ESPN can say, well, yeah, this violates our deal. But we're not going to pick up our option. Good luck. And then in theory, the schools would scatter and Fox and ESPN would fight over who goes where. So gut feeling right now, are you inclined to take it if you're the ACC, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. If you're Florida State and Clemson, are you inclined to take it? Or is this Hell no. We're blowing it up.
I think it's B. I think Florida State has made their mind up that they're after the ACC, and ESPN, of all people, are not going to tell Florida State where they are going to go next. I think they're that honked off at ESPN.
Well, I know they're honked off at ESPN, but once again, this is business. This is a nasty divorce settlement, but at the end of the day, when your divorce lawyer looks at you and goes, you can channel that rage, you can stay angry. I'm not asking you to not be angry, but I am asking you to sign this deal because I don't think I can do better for you. So you can be angry at me too, but sign it. I mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, come on. You're Florida State. I mean, honestly.
Well, and you didn't do very well in the last court meeting.
No, you lost 2 out of 3.
Right.
Now, you can still eventually leave. It's just a matter of if you're losing in court, it's going to cost you more money. But if you're hell-bent on leaving, you'll just raise the money and you'll pay it. But we gone. Okay. If you're Florida State, are you more inclined to take this or tell ESPN and the ACC to pound sand?
Can both be true? Because I think they're more inclined to tell ESPN to go pound sand, but I still think they may sign it when it's all said and done. Because I don't know if there'll be a better deal for them out there.
Don't you have to have the Big Ten on line 2? Okay, just so you know, if we go to war, you taking us? I mean, the answer's got to be yes. Fox and Big Ten have got to be sitting there saying, go to war, buddy. We're here when you're done. Whether you come out winners, losers, okay, whatever. We're here. Don't you worry. We got you. So I just wanted to throw that story out there. You know, by 6:30 in the morning, nothing to digest or anything.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Paul, I did. I did like the Barry Sanders documentary. Not a whole lot of new information, but it's always fun to kind of watch that kind of stuff. So I wasn't around for it. My favorite is the Bad Boys, 30 for 30.
I have a question.
Yeah.
They were billing that Barry Sanders documentary as if, and he will give the real reason why he retired. Was it anything different?
No. He didn't have any more to give. That's his story. He's sticking to it. Yeah, the 89 draft class. It went Aikman. And who was the bust out of Michigan State at
Mandarich.
Mandarich. Then Derek Thomas, right? Then Barry, or vice versa.
I thought it was Barry, Derek Thomas, Dion, right?
Yeah, that's the top 5.
It's the 03 NBA draft class
Yeah, it is.
with the
Same order, too, with the number 2 being the bust.
Yep. I don't know if a running back goes in the top 50 of this draft.
Did you see that the Indiana Fever have had one nationally televised game in their history? And Caitlin Clark has had 36.
36 out of 40, right?
Yes. Actually, I botched that. It was just last season. Indiana Fever had one game, and Caitlin Clark last season had 36.
How do you spell Xander? Is that with a X?
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. We're an hour away from Ron Sirak joining us from soggy Augusta, where the proceedings are delayed. Could be most of the morning. We'll see. Officially delayed at least an hour. But, we'll get to that coming up in a bit because it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, the story broke late in our show yesterday. Jags defensive end linebacker Josh Allen, he got paid. Potentially, it could be 5 for $150. It's 88 guaranteed. He had 17 and a half sacks last year. They reduced his cap hit this year $13 million by doing this deal. That's pretty good. Now, it's not going to be that way every year of the deal, but for this year, by doing this deal, they saved themselves $13 million. So it's going to be the Eagles and the Packers in Brazil. Hello. You got Thursday night football. We don't know who the Chiefs are going to be playing. And then the next night on Peacock in Brazil, Eagles, Packers. It's an Eagles home game. Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, week 1 of the NFL. Get ready for it. And Monday's usually a doubleheader.
I'm surprised it's not Cleveland. I mean, those are the two teams. Remember, it's a conference game, 2 teams that both made the playoffs a year ago, and taking away a home game essentially from a team in a game that could have playoff implications, even though it's week 1 from a tiebreak standpoint. I was surprised they didn't go Cleveland.
Well, we went through the schedule, 3-4 weeks ago, and we narrowed it down to, we thought it was Steelers, Browns, Packers, because we thought they were, A, not going to give them a division game, but B, they were also going to give them a game with meat on the bone. If the NFL's learned anything from, doing London for how many times they've done it, and now all of Europe, is when you kept sending the Jags over when the Jags were horrible, Europe was looking at the NFL like, seriously? You got to do better than this. So, what did they do? They sent, they've been sending the Chiefs and the Packers and the Giants and the Dolphins. They've been sending some meat on the bone. We knew they were going to give the Eagles a good team, but didn't somebody on the Browns 2 weeks ago publicly say we're going to Brazil?
Yes.
Well, you're not, buddy. The Packers are. Friday, September 6th. Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice is in trouble. He faces 8 counts of various degrees of reckless driving, leaving the scene, that whole deal. He was driving a Lamborghini. It caused a chain reaction crash. No one died. Quite a few people were injured.
He was racing a Lamborghini. He wasn't driving a Lamborghini.
That's
he was
true.
Racing a Lamborghini.
Although with a Lamborghini, at what rate of speed do you have to get to before you consider it racing? I mean, that is one of those cars where you could be doing a $110 down the highway, and it doesn't feel like racing. I told you when I did the Jacksonville-Purdue game and I got a Mustang. Next thing you know, I'm just driving. I got an hour drive to the hotel. I'm just driving, and I look down, and I'm doing 90-something. I went, holy blank. I've been in a Mustang before. I'm just wondering, but he was racing.
He was racing.
They were racing. Yeah, and people got hurt. And I'm just curious, how's he going to avoid jail time? I mean, this is something that usually, and plus this many counts. I mean, is this going to be one of those things where they're going to interrupt his career and send him to prison? Are they going to send him to jail in the offseason? No, seriously. Is it going to be one of those deals where he's going to work, he's going to basically, his salary is going to go straight to the victims, and they're going to let him keep playing, but literally he's going to work for free? I mean, it doesn't seem like...
He won't do a day in jail.
Okay. I mean, Dante Stallworth did 24 days. I mean, granted,
he killed somebody.
He did kill somebody, but he did 24 days.
Somebody.
But, they took the $8 million settlement instead. I'm just wondering if they work something out here. College hoops, John Calipari officially introduced as the Arkansas head coach. 5 years, a minimum of $7 million a year. He gets $1 million signing bonus. It's no joke. He gets a $500,000 the first 2 years. If he stays for 2 years, they'll give him an extra $500,000 a year just for staying. He's got bonuses for winning tournament games. Anyway, it could be worth a lot of money, is what we're saying. NBA. Heat lose at home to the red-hot Mavs, 111-92. Luke and Kyrie combined for 54. You know, Kyrie had a $1 million bonus in his contract if they win 50 games. Mavs won their 50th game of the year last night. Kyrie was doing high fives at the end of the game, telling everybody. Seriously, you could hear him. It's on me, buddy. We're going out. On me. It's on Mark Cuban, actually. $1 million, guys. Good win. Heat are a game behind the Sixers. Right now, Miami's the 8th seed, and they look locked into the play-in. Orlando suffered 2 losses in a row. Here they were on the verge of being the 2 seed, and now they wake up the 5 this morning in the East. The Bucks with no Giannis. He's out for the rest of the regular season because of calf injury. 117-99 over Orlando. Cleveland's the 4 seed thanks to their 12-point win over Memphis. Right now, Milwaukee's the 2, the Knicks are the 3. Jokic with 41, game of the night in the NBA. Nuggets over the T-Wolves, 116-107. Denver's the 1 seed. Minnesota, OKC, both a game back. Technically, OKC is the tiebreaker on Minnesota. So the T-Wolves with this loss went from the 1 to the 3 seed, just like that. Phoenix, by the way, trying to avoid the play-in out west, beat the Clippers, 124-108. Clippers are a game ahead of the Mavs in the race for 4-5. They look like they're going to play each other in the first round, but who's going to have home court? Meanwhile, Phoenix in the 7 hole, a half a game behind New Orleans for the 6 seed. Celtics signed Drew Holiday. You know, we talked about this over the last couple of years, that the money, the NBA salaries are wow. Drew Holiday, 3rd best player on the Celtics. Agreed? I mean, Porzingis or Holiday? Who
I was going to say, is it Porzingis? That's.
And I'd say Holiday better all-around player. Porzingis a one-dimensional guy more so than Holiday. But so 3rd or 4th best player on the Celtics. Very good player, though. He just signed a 4-year, $135 million extension. That's just shy of 34 a year. What's Jalen Brunson going to get if Drew Holiday's getting 34? I mean, seriously, you're a team, you're trying to sign your best players going. If Drew Holiday, who I believe's in his early 30s, if Drew Holiday is getting 34 a year, think about what NBA guys are going to be making. Oh, by the way, the TV deal they're about to sign is going to double or triple. Actually, they're saying it's going to triple their TV revenue. NBA players are going to be the highest paid athletes in this country. And it's not going to be.
They're going to border on what soccer players are making right now.
They really are. Commissioner Adam Silver came out and said that, listen, we're still doing the investigation, but that Jonte Porter guy with Toronto, if what they're alleging is true, he ain't ever going to play in the NBA again. I've got the power to do it, and I'll do it. Trae Young returned last night for the Hawks. He played 21 minutes, had 14 points, 11 assists. That's pretty good in 21 minutes. They lost to Charlotte, though. That's not good. 115-114. Okay, the NHL's putting 2 schedules together for next year. One of them is the Coyotes in Phoenix, and the other has them in Salt Lake City.
I'll bet on B.
I don't even know if the NHL is going to wait to see whether or not the Coyotes win the auction for the land where they want to buy their or build their new arena at. Apparently, here's the deal, Mark. The NHL, according to reports, is saying to the owner of the Coyotes, yeah, we're going to buy the team from you for $1 billion, and you're going to take your money and you're going to leave quietly. And then we're going to turn around and sell it for about $1.3 billion to this guy in Salt Lake City. And then we're going to take the 300 or so million and we're going to divide it by the other 31. And so every owner is going to get 10 million. And your franchise is going to be in Salt Lake and, you know, just see you. That's what was reported yesterday. We'll see. Blues, very much alive for that final playoff spot in the West. They beat Chicago 5-2. They're 3 points back of Vegas for that final spot, who lost to Edmonton 5-1. Vegas does have 4 games left to play. The Blues only 3. Edmonton's 4 points behind Vancouver for the division lead. Vancouver lost to Arizona in overtime 4-3. Mark, only one more home game for the Coyotes. Final game of the regular season. They're home. Could be the farewell in Phoenix. Playoffs, by the way, will start a week from Saturday, the 20th. The NHL announced that. By the way, Diamond Sports got an extension on their whole bankruptcy plan. Major League Baseball has been against Diamond Sports for a year and a half now, but the NBA and the NHL was backing Diamond Sports because most of their games are broadcast on these regional cable channels. Now, even the NBA and the NHL have abandoned Diamond. They're suing. They're like, no. We can't wait till November to find out whether they're going to stay in business or not. This could mess up our entire broadcast season next year. So we got that going. Frozen 4 begins today in Minneapolis. Denver and BU, 2 of the top 3 teams in the country at 5 o'clock. Unranked Michigan taking on number 1 Boston College at 8:30. Last time Michigan won the hockey national title was 3 months after they won the football national title. Do you sense a theme? Baseball, Rays with 3 in the first. 2 of those runs scored on a wild pitch, Mark. But they beat the Angels 4-2. And the Marlins beat the Yankees. Aaron Boone got ejected. Because, it's a day that ends in Y. 5-2 Marlins. They scored 4 in the third. They're 2-11. They're going to begin a run. Orioles beat the Red Sox 7-5, but the big story, Jackson Holliday, his major league debut, number 1 prospect in the game. He went 0 for 4, but he did have an RBI. Twins beat the Dodgers 3-2. Cleveland down 5-0. They get homers from the brothers, the Naylor brothers, Bo and Josh, who homered to help tie the game. Then down a run in the 10th. Bo drove in a run, and then Josh drove in the game winner. And apparently yesterday was National Sibling Day. I just thought it was National Grilled Cheese Day. Anyway, Guardians are 9-3 with the win. Astros are 4-9, and the Royals have won 6 in a row, 11-2 KC. Seattle scored 5 in the 10th to beat Toronto. Texas over Oakland. Phil's edged the Cardinals. Arizona with 2 in the 9th to beat the Rockies. Giants over the Nats. Cubs held the 3 hits, lost 10-2 to the Padres. Milwaukee's off to an 8-3 start. They beat our Reds, Mark, who are 6-6, 7-2. Mets and Braves postpone rain. All right. 89 guys at the Masters. 13 of them play on the LIV Tour. 18 past champions. 33 major champions in the field. Ricky Fowler won the par 3 contest yesterday, so he's out because nobody wins the par 3 contest and then wins the tournament. Not that Ricky was going to win it anyway. Usually 7:45, Jack, Gary Player, Tom Watson do that honorary starter thing in the first tee times at 8. But everything's been pushed back till at least 9 o'clock. They think it's going to be later than that. It's been raining overnight and this morning in Augusta. But expect the golf to get underway late morning. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Apparently it was not a good starting 5 because Trent bailed on the music. With like 4 minutes ago, he said, yeah, this just isn't it very good. I'm done with the music.
The music only lasts like 12 minutes. And it's a hard stop. So I try to fade it down when it's getting near the end there. A little behind the curtain, but
okay. All right.
Well, I had more than 12 minutes in there, but
12 minutes.
Oh, all right.
That's all we got.
All right. So
I'm not feeling you, David. Come on. That was good starting 5.
He faded it down 3 minutes early, though. He did. He's like, this sucks. This is not interesting me at all. No. Nothing you got.
I was riveted, by the way.
I know you were. Yep.
The Naylor brothers. That's what I take out of it.
Bo and Josh, Mark. Yep. Bo
I'm
and
a
Josh.
fan of Josh than I am Bo.
So's mom and dad. There you have it. Ron Sirak in 45 minutes. We'll look ahead to the Masters. It really will get underway later this morning.
Love that they have the notifications coming out that they're not even letting you in the park. They weren't letting you in the parking lot either.
Nope.
No tailgating in the parking lots at Augusta, damn it. We're not opening the gates. We're not opening the parking. And we'll
Nope.
let you know when we're going to, and we'll have updates coming up shortly.
Man, that line of cars off of Washington there to get into the free parking. Whoo!
The IHOP is a hopping this morning, David.
Yes, it is. People are going to leave their car in line and just go get breakfast, come back.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Your Osprey home.
So last night at dinner, my mom was over, and the two softball coaches in the house, my wife and mother, started giving Maddie softball advice. She'd finally heard it for about 6 minutes and then got up and started doing the dishes. She just got up from the table and walked away. I lost it. Like that, a girl. She had no out.
Just rip the Band-Aid off. Get out of there.
That's enough. It's enough of you two telling me how to play the game that neither of you play. But
Canada relief? Yes. I think they were going to try to get there this morning at like 6 a.m. That's early. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. Ron Sirak to talk Masters in a little more than 30 minutes time. The Masters, the focus of our poll question. Little different take on Scheffler versus the field. Because, I mean, he's not Tiger, even though he's hitting the ball like Tiger, but that's a whole other story. So we threw in a wrinkle, didn't we?
we definitely have a wrinkle. Who are you taking in the Masters? Scheffler, a LIV golfer, or the rest of the field?
See, there's 13 LIV golfers, including the defending champion, John Rahm. You know, a little Koepka, little DJ action, little Sergio. You got 7 LIVers who have won this tournament before. So there you go. Scheffler, LIV, everybody else, the other 75 guys. I took the other 75 guys.
Oh, I thought for sure you'd take the LIV just because.
I'm going with Schauffele. I'm telling you, he's going to win by 4, maybe 5. It's his. Rahm won by 4 last year. Okay, I'm just telling you, he's due. He's been playing too well. He figures it out. He doesn't choke like a big hairy dog, even if he does have to lay up on 15 on Sunday to keep from choking. Whatever. I don't know why I think he's going to finally win. Because all
there too. I mean, he's not going to. It's Augusta. It's the back nine. If he's in the hunt, can he handle it? Will be the key to me. But there's nothing about what you said up until not choking that isn't true.
So I don't know. He's just due. I think when he wins, it was kind of like when Duval finally broke through at the Open Championship. I think he won by 3 or 4. I mean, when the guys, the way Phil won his first major, to me was unusual. Shooting 31 on the back 9, coming from behind, winning by 1. Usually when guys are coming close, and they can't do it, when they break through, it's a waltz.
20 years ago today, Phil's first major, winning the Masters.
One of Nance's best calls. because it wasn't scripted. Is it his time? Yes. You know, it was good. All right. He was up for the moment. Phil with that big leap. I mean, 4 or 5 inches off the ground.
I'm telling you, they slid not one but 2 Augusta phone books underneath that jump. He was up so high.
Ooh-wee. Boy, to repair those spike marks. Boy, they were deep. They were deep.
It's only because Phil was a little heavier then.
Did you see one of the stories Phil told this week? You know, they just said, hey, you know, you've been here a lot. 3 wins, bunch of top 2s and 3s. And so he told the story about how they don't do it anymore. But when you win that night, you have dinner at the club. And it's usually with the chairman and some of the, you know, most prestigious members of Augusta. So you go from that ceremony, you know, Butler Cabin, then they have a ceremony outside, and then you go into the club and they treat you to dinner. So Phil, and I guess Hootie Johnson was the, you know, chairman at the time, and he said, Mr. Chairman, I hear in your wine cellar that you've got some really good stuff. How about you break out some of the good stuff? And so Hootie goes, absolutely, Mr. Mickelson, no problem. And so Phil thinks, you know, Augusta, it's on Augusta. Apparently his wife, Amy, overhears the chairman say to somebody who works there, so go downstairs and get boom, 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 and make sure Mr. Mickelson gets the tab. At which point Amy grabs his elbow and says, listen, what you guys normally do is just fine. Okay. You know, whatever you normally do, I'm sure it'll be just fine. We're just honored to finally, you know, be in this room at this time and what have you. And Amy sat down and took a look at Phil and said, listen, I don't even know if we were going to break even with what you just tried to pull. We might have lost money on this tournament. So there you go. Amy coming to the rescue again.
That's the truth. Now that's a wine cellar I'd like to see.
No kidding. No kidding.
But think about that. You win the Masters. You want to, you know, you're probably excited. You want to go party with your friends you're going to stick around and have dinner with the chairman and you're going to like it.
Dinner's at 9. Okay. All right. Sounds good to me. You know, my parents are waiting. Okay. I'll tell them we'll be home at 11. You think I'll be home by 11? Thank you, sir. But apparently they don't do that dinner anymore. Don't know why, but, you know, whatever. So the Masters getting underway. A little rain delayed right now. They'll probably tee off late morning. I don't know if they'll get in everybody today. Then if you're delaying this sucker a little bit, you know, usually the last guy's finished with less than an hour of sunlight. So my guess is whoever's teeing off late is not going to finish today.
Probably right.
And windy apparently first 2 days. I mean, very
like
gusty.
Windy.
Yes.
Like gusts to 30 miles an hour, sustained winds 15, 20 miles an hour, as if that course needed some more protection.
Right. So so there you go. Ron Sirak to join us in 30 minutes time. So I told you I'm going to be a pain for the next 2 weeks. If somebody prints a mock draft, I read it. I need to lay down. I need some medication. I have a problem.
What are you focusing on now, though? The second half of the mock drafts, the pick 16 through 32. Are you trying to create your own mock draft?
I'm focusing on the mock drafts from guys who I think have good information. So I'm looking for 2 things. So who's truly going to make trades? Like, it's real easy to say that the Vikings are going to trade up with Arizona and the Cardinals are going to get the Vikings 2 first-round picks and then whatever else Minnesota has to throw into the deal, and that the Arizona Cardinals are going to end up with 3 first-round picks, 11, 23, and 27. Okay. I think most of us would nod our head and go, yeah, I see that happening. And then the Vikings take, I'm guessing J.J. McCarthy. I don't know, possibly Drake May if New England goes in a different direction at 3, whatever. But I saw an interesting trade yesterday. Denver's at 12. Pittsburgh's at 20. Pittsburgh sees Brian Thomas of LSU still on the board at 12. The fourth wide receiver in this draft. And Pittsburgh calls Denver. Remember, Denver doesn't have a second-round pick. Meanwhile, the Steelers have 2/3, along with 2/6 to throw in there. I mean, they don't have a 5th or a 7th, but I mean, in terms of capital, they've got 2 3s and 2 6s. What does Denver need? Denver needs a lot.
Picks.
Yeah, they need picks.
Players.
Right. Like Denver picks at 12 and doesn't pick again until the 3rd round. And so the draft that I saw, they said Pittsburgh moves up 8 spots to get Brian Thomas, because that's the draw the line in we think there are 4 receivers that are better than the rest. Even though, we like Ladd McConkey and the 2 Texas wideouts and Keon Coleman and all that, but that's the second tier of receivers. And first off, the Steelers don't make draft day deals. Although this GM is far more aggressive, Omar is, than the guy he got the job from that he was assistant to for like 15 years. Far more aggressive. So that one interested me. I'm like, okay. And Denver moves down to 20, and who do they take? Bo Nix.
Okay, Bo Nix, yeah.
Because Penix went 13 to the Raiders. Interesting. Okay.
I'm not saying I wouldn't want to be Michael Penix because he's going to get drafted and he's going to get his shot. But he and Nix I've seen him as high now as you have 13 Penix. I've seen Nix at 12. I've seen both of them in the 2nd round. Penix especially.
Right.
Be a long night in the green room if Penix shows. It could be a long night if Penix shows up. He could be there for a while, if you know what I mean. Like into Friday.
Like the Will Levis?
Yeah.
And like another Will Levis draft? Yeah, I could see that. So, interesting things like Baltimore and Tampa Bay made a trade. Baltimore moves up from 30 to 26. And Tampa Bay moves back. I'm assuming Baltimore's got 2 4s. Is an extra 4th round pick enough for Tampa Bay to move back? Or does Tampa, who I believe they don't have a 3rd?
Tampa? Tampa's 2/3.
No, 2/3. I'm sorry. Does Tampa insist on saying, no, you got to do better in a 4th? Or does
4 spots? I would think so, but that's just me.
So, but they had a deal in which the Ravens move up 4 spots, and that for the Lions in this mock draft, because the other thing that I'm looking at, Mark, is mock drafts that are from people that I think have information that's more trustworthy than most. I'm curious to see, okay, who's falling? And Chop Robinson and Kool-Aid McKinstry in a lot of mock drafts are the 2 defensive players that are falling. And in this particular mock draft, 9 offensive tackles went in the 1st round. 9. Jets, by the way, moved down from 10 to 15. Colts traded up for Bowers. Jets took a tackle at 15. And I have to admit, if I'm running the Jets, I'm really torn. I understand Bowers, and he may be a better player than the tackles that are available potentially, especially if I move down. But where do I need help more? I got a left tackle. I got 2 33 or older tackles on my roster. So, those are the things that interested me in the mock draft. Steelers moving up to get the 4th wide receiver before that falters a little bit. The defensive players that fall because this draft was offensive tackle heavy. People moved for offensive linemen. Okay. I mean, one of these has to be right. Right? No? Okay, good.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and find timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Does that jersey say Savages?
It does.
Southeastern Oklahoma State. Dennis Rodman and Reba McEntire. That's about all they got. Quite the pairing there.
What is it again?
Southeastern Oklahoma State. I believe when he played there, it was...
It was not called that, I thought. Also, wasn't it like an NAIA school or something?
Yeah.
And as Paul pointed out in our Twitch chat room, they both wear dresses. Hello.
That's good.
Winning score this week. 12 under.
It's so funny. I was thinking 11-12. I think they're really good, Brian. Thinking, Sonny, a lot of California and probably a lot of French. Somehow I see there being some really nice Bordeaux's down in the Butler Cabin cellar, if you know what I mean.
You got anything?
I want to just go back to. I think we talked draft some more. I just we did you kind of. Unless where do you want to go?
Otani.
Okay, that's fine.
And the money.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Ron Sirak. In a little more than 15 minutes, we'll talk the Masters, which is weather delayed right now, at least an hour. They have not given any other update but that. We're supposed to start at 8. It now will not start earlier than 9. The expectation is it will push back even further than that, but we'll get underway late in the morning. Chad Forbes to talk NFL draft at the top of the hour, and David Laurila to talk some Major League Baseball in a little more than an hour.
The Masters is the basis of our poll question today. Who are you taking in the Masters? Scotty Scheffler, an LIV golfer, or the rest of the field? The rest of the field getting the majority of the vote at the moment. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or Miller_Moulton on X to vote.
13 LIV golfers, 7 of whom have won here. And if you take a look at the leaderboard from last year, I think 4 of the top 6 currently play on the LIV tour. All right. So 2+ weeks ago, a little more than that, almost 3 weeks ago, this Otani gambling story. You remember that?
Yeah. I mean, David, by all accounts, this investigation's coming to an end pretty quickly. They figured this was easy, David. This did not take any great detective work. Apparently, the interpreter took all the money. He's guilty. Case closed, right?
You know, I sense some genuine sarcasm there. I sense some insincerity in your voice.
I don't know about insincerity. I've just kind of read the story a couple times, and that's all I'm saying. This is done. The investigation's about to be over. He's guilty of everything. He's a thief. Otani knew nothing. Nothing, I tell you. $4.5 million stolen. Never knew a damn thing happened.
Well, and it turns out that it's probably more than $4.5 million. But yes, Mark, federal authorities have concluded, according to reports by the New York Times and TMZ Sports, the federal authorities, and that includes not only the IRS, but I believe it's also the Department of Homeland Security. It's been a joint federal investigation. They have concluded that this interpreter, Mizuhara, they stole all the money and Otani knew nothing. And we all wondered, well, how the heck can that be? Well, apparently he did 2 things. First off, he changed it so that Ohtani stopped getting like updates when money was withdrawn from his accounts. That's number one. But also, apparently, Mizuhara managed to change an account settings so that Ohtani had no idea what was going on. So they concluded the interpreter was lying. Ohtani was completely in the dark. And they also have concluded that Ohtani has been very forthcoming. And Mizuhara is likely going to plead to a bunch of stuff and go to jail for quite a while. But there you go.
Ohtani did nothing wrong, knew nothing. The only thing he did wrong was he was duped.
Correct. To the tune of a minimum of $4.5 million. But he had nothing to do with nothing. He didn't pay these guys debts. The supposed his signature on checks. I guess we're going to find out it wasn't Ohtani's signature. I don't know. But that's according to the IRS and the Department of Homeland Security. Just curious, gut feeling. Do you go, huh? Oh, okay, it's possible. I mean, let's face it. Bunch of rich and famous people have had a ton of money stolen from them.
Throughout time.
Yes.
Throughout time, David. There's no question that this has happened over and over and over again.
Just curious whether or not people believe it.
I don't.
So you think this is a huge cover-up?
Yes. You're that meticulous about your training, but you don't have but here, take my phone and do whatever you want with it. Here, have my computer. In fact, you know what? Oh, you just need to print some stuff out? Yeah, use my computer. Oh, that book right there next to the computer, that has all my passwords in it. Help yourself to that too.
I have to admit, the timing of this, because I did not think what you were thinking when I saw this report last night. But who's been in the country the last couple of days? I think the foreign minister of Japan. I think the prime minister of Japan has been meeting with Biden for the last couple of days. They've been talking about life.
Dinner in New York, raising a bunch of money last night.
Life in the pursuit of happiness and how they're going to combat China and Russia. I just thought from a timing standpoint, this isn't good because you could see where one of the things on the agenda could be, all right, let's talk Ohtani. I mean, if you're into conspiracy theories, if you're into cover-ups, couldn't you see where the prime minister of Japan looks at Biden and says, all right, what do I have to give you to make this Ohtani stuff go away? And by the way, you got to chop Mizuhara up and you got to put them in oil tanks and, you got to bury those out. But anyway, what do we?
To which Biden says, done it before. We'll do it again.
That's what Biden says. No. You got to handle the body. But I can take care of the Ohtani thing. We'll just blame it on the interpreter. Done deal. So I have to admit, I thought the timing was bad for this story to break. I would have waited till the prime minister left the country. Because if you believe in conspiracies and cover-ups and what have you, I mean, you literally think they've been meeting about it for 2 days in New York or D.C. or wherever the heck they're meeting. That's all. So you don't believe it. You think Ohtani did something. You don't think he was just naive and stupid.
I have a lot of trouble believing he was just naive and stupid. I do.
Okay.
Because you don't think he's wired that way.
Right.
Given how he treats other aspects of his life.
And we don't know. Maybe he is because he's so incredibly private. Maybe maybe he can't. Maybe he's like my mom. And when she had to get her taxes done and she had to come to my house and I had to finish it on the computer for her. Maybe. Maybe a little bit of, David Moultonitis that just has trouble with the apps on the computer and needed the handler there to handle all the finances. I guess it's possible. Doesn't seem like it.
You're not buying it.
No.
Well, anyway, that's apparently the story, and they're sticking to it. I'm sure there'll be a press conference one day, and all these questions and concerns that you have, Mark, will be answered.
$4.5 million, and we've got the whole investigation done, finalized, wrapped up in 2 weeks.
If the guy says he did it,
Come on, David.
I stole the money. Who took it? I did. How'd you do it?
Here's how I did it.
Mark, I watched Law and Order and Blue Bloods. They hand the guy a yellow tablet, a pen, and he writes down how he did it. That's what Mizuhara did. They got him some takeout. They gave him a notepad and a pen. He wrote it all out. Top of page 2. Ohtani was stupid. Okay, and he lists all the reasons why. Now, here's my question. When this Mizuhara guy eventually gets deported and he goes back to Japan, okay, is he going to disappear? We're never going to hear from him again? Or is he going to have a penthouse? And I think the outcome determines really how this story goes.
Miller and Moulton. Time now for our Molly Maid play of the day. Trent, what do you have for us?
We're up against it for time, so I'll just hit you with it. The Nailers yesterday, National Siblings Day. A couple of homers in the 4th.
Center field deep. Fletcher back on the track. Out of room. Out of here. Back come the Guardians on one swing of the bat by Bo Naylor. The home run brothers for Cleveland here in the 4th.
Naylor would go on to walk it off in the 10th for the Guards as well. They're 9-3.
Call Molly Maid today, 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095, offices in Fort Myers.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I mean, does it surprise you that the thing's basically done in 2 weeks?
What's done in 2 weeks?
The investigation.
A little bit.
Start to finish, this basically is wrapped up.
But I will say, if one guy has orchestrated the whole con, I mean, and it behooves him to cooperate to get as less of a punishment as possible. I mean, if I'm the one who stole the money from you and I decide to come clean, I mean, how long does this investigation take?
It's long enough to make sure that you're not both lying.
I mean, you know, I tell you what I did, and then you guys investigate whether I'm lying or not. Feeney, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Probably not, Feeney.
So I get Ron on. He goes, "You got any update on the weather?"
I did not, Sonny.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Ron Sirak, he contributes to the Golf Channel. He writes on ronsirak.com, SIRAK.com, and you follow Ron on X at Ron Sirak, SIRAK. Ron, it's David and Mark once again. Good morning. Happy Masters. How are you?
Always a special week. Always fun to get this tournament underway. It's just, it looks like today we're going to have to wait a little bit longer than normal to get it started.
Listen, when we say the Masters to you, Ron, what do you think of?
Tradition. I mean, you know, the amount of really cool traditions they have there is off the charts. It's the Champions Dinner on Tuesday night. Last night was the Golf Writers Dinner. It was the 50th Golf Writers Dinner. That's where all the awards are given out that the writers vote for, and all the players are there. And then this morning will be the ceremony opening tee shots hit by Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, Tom Watson. It's just, you know, right down to ending with putting the green jacket on the winner. It's all about tradition.
And from the looks of it, obviously today is going to be wet and windy. The wind brings a whole nother element into this golf course, doesn't it, Ron?
Yeah, it does. I've been checking my emails all morning. I got my last weather bulletin that Augusta National sent me was at 5 o'clock this morning, and at that point they said that they're not going to start before 9 a.m. today. It looks like it's more. They're talking about that ceremonial tee shot will be hit probably about 10:10 this morning, so that would mean that they're not going to get out on the course until 10:30. They already had about 3/4 of an inch of rain. They're going to get about a half an inch more. Water they can deal with brilliantly at Augusta. They have sub-air drying under all the greens and in some of the low spots of the fairway, so they can dry the course out. But it sounds like at least into mid-afternoon, they're going to have sustained winds at about 17 miles an hour, gusting up to 25, 30. So that's going to be a real challenge.
You know, the Masters quietly made some news in the last 48 hours. Didn't the chairman say that they support the USGA and the R&A and the rolling back of the golf ball? Didn't they say that they're on board with that?
Yeah, you know, and I think that of all the major championships, look, I honestly thought that there was a chance at Augusta National, if the RNA and the USGA did not act on the golf ball, I thought there was a chance Augusta National would impose their own golf ball because, they've stretched that venue out really as far as they could. Last year, they added 35 yards to number 13. This year, they've added 10 yards to number 2. When I first started going to the Masters in 1988, it measured for the tournament about 69.50, and now they're stretching it out to over 7,500. There's just no place more for them to go. They really need the golf ball to be reined in so that golf course doesn't get overwhelmed by technology.
What are the biggest changes of the course in that period of time, Ron? You said you first got there in '88. This place has changed a lot over that time span. What's the biggest?
It's funny. The tradition of Augusta used to be that they wouldn't tell us what changes they did. We'd have to go out and walk the course early in the week and try to figure out what changes. They're much more open about doing that now. But one year, there's a great story. One year, Sam Snead arrived there, and he says, they moved the tee back on number 1. And one of the green jacket officials, nope, didn't do that. Snead says, you moved the tee back on number 1. They said, no, didn't do that. And finally, Snead says, look, you either move the tee back or you move the clubhouse forward because we're in a different place than we were last year. But that's stretching it out. And to me, the bad thing about them stretching it out is the Masters used to be the major championship that a veteran player could get by and contend in just on guile and local knowledge and knowing that golf course. And now they've made it so long that it's impossible for that to happen there. Number 1 tee shot, that hole is so much harder than it was when I first got there. The long hitters used to be able to fly it to the crosswalk and get up and have a short iron in. Now they're driving right into the side of that hill, and it's a real challenge because the course is all about position play. You got to go from point A to point B to point C. As Nick Faldo famously said, there's a route around Augusta. You got to find it and follow it. And they've made it harder to find that route because you got to hit the ball so far.
Talking the Masters with Ron Sirak, ronsirak.com. You can also see him and hear him on the Golf Channel and follow him on X at Ron Sirak, Sirak. Still a place, though. Tiger continues to make the cut. He's 48. Phil finished T2 last year at 52, I think. Freddie was in the final group when he was 50. I mean, experience, and at least to your early 50s, you still got a chance here, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Again, Faldo, who used to mentally dissect that course better than anybody, his great line is, Augusta National seduces you. It's got really wide fairways and virtually no rough, but you only can use a third of the fairway. It's got really big greens, but you can only use a quarter of the green. So it seduces you into thinking it's sort of a big, wide open space out there, but you really have to be in the right position off the tee to be able to hit the right approach shots to the green. It's the kind of golf course, we've all seen those greens, where you're better off having a 40-foot uphill putt than a 10-foot downhill putt. So you got to put the ball not only on the green, but in the right place on the green. And that local knowledge, that the people who've been there and know how to find their way around. There were so many holes where if you want to get close to the hole, you don't go at the flag. You go for a spot 50 feet away from the flag because it's going to feed down to it. And you only learn that by playing there a lot.
All right, if I told you couldn't pick Scotty Scheffler, who would you take?
Going on my everything works for somebody for 2 weeks, and we saw that mallet putter work for Scotty Scheffler for 2 weeks. I like the fact that Rory McIlroy has gotten to Butch Harmon as his coach within the last couple of weeks, and he finished with a strong 66 last week. I'm looking for Rory to complete the career Grand Slam this week.
Don't you think it all depends? Rory can't get off to a decent start in these majors, especially the Masters. I mean, Ron, if you were Rory and we said to you this morning, I'll give you a 70, he wouldn't leave the hotel room, would he?
I think you're right about that. To me, the tragic flaw for Rory, and I felt this way for. I was with him when he won his first PGA Tour tournament in 2010 at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he is the best driver of the golf ball I've ever seen. And with his A game, I think he has since 2010 been the unquestionable best golfer in the world. Rory's problem is he has never figured out how to win with his B game. He gets frustrated. You see it in his body language out there. Tiger Woods won with his B game all the time. But I don't know if I've ever seen any great golfer shoot as many 9-hole rounds in the 40s as I've seen Rory McIlroy shoot. When he goes out there and it starts to go a little south for him, he doesn't adapt well and adjust. And that whole thing of getting out to a good start and then feeling that confidence and feeling good going into the rest of the game, the weekend, is hugely important for him. Yes, if he gets out of the gate quickly, it could be a really good week for him.
With him going back with Harman, what do you think the reasons why the switch was made?
It's funny because part of what Butch does really well as a coach, Butch doesn't tinker with your swing a whole lot. He's one of those people who believes there's more than one right way to swing a golf club. The key is to be able to repeat your swing. And Butch works more with your mind than anything else. Butch is an amazing cheerleader. You talk to any player who has ever worked with Butch Harmon, and they'll tell you, he makes me feel so good about my game. And I think that's exactly what Rory needs. Is he needs somebody in his ear talking to him to get that best golf out of him, and to do exactly what I said before, is to convince him that even when you're not hitting it exactly the way you want to hit it, you can still score well. You got to figure a way to turn those 74s into 71s, and maximize everything that's in there. And I think that's probably what Rory. You look, what have been the weaknesses for Rory's game? He's not all that good from 100 yards in. Butch could tinker with that a little bit, but I really think it's the mental stuff. It's getting into Rory's head and convincing him, selling it to him. You're the best player in the world. Go out there and play like it.
Ron, I can't remember when so many top players have made so many recent changes before the Masters. I mean, Scheffler changes putters and then gets 2 wins in a second. Okay, that works. But Rory going to Butch, JT firing his caddy, Koepka last week changing putters. I mean, within 10 days of the Masters, I mean, people don't do this normally.
Yeah, and it's interesting. One of the tragic flaws that you see among all golfers is nothing's ever their fault. If you're not playing well, you fire your caddy. You're not playing well, you fire your coach. And you always. I always thought that when Tiger was his peak Tiger, he was sort of like the Pittsburgh Steelers of golf. Get somebody that you trust in charge and run it that way. And he had Steve Williams on that bag for all but one of his major championships, and he went through a couple of different coaches, but he would never change anything all that drastically. But it certainly is one of the ways golfers are. Nothing's ever your fault. Always got to blame somebody else.
The LIV guys are all screaming for a merger. Does winning a green jacket by a LIV player help that?
Hey, speaking of that, no. I think that the merger is going to be hung up by regulatory issues and stuff. But boy, I'll tell you what, John Rahm has sounded to me this week very much like somebody who's regretting his decision. He was talking about that LIV needs to go to 72-hole formats. Well, does he know that means that they can't call it LIV anymore? Because LIV is 54 in Roman numerals. They'd have to call it LXXII, And so, but he's sounding very much like somebody who's missing everything about the PGA Tour. He's missing defending titles. He's missing, I think, the camaraderie of the other guys out there. And I think more than anything, he's missing the fans. I wasn't at the Doral event for Live, but people I know who were there were saying there were more spectators at the Augusta National Women's Amateur last week than there were at the Live event. And all that excitement, all that electricity around the PGA Tour and Pro Golf, I think John Rahm is missing. But the short answer to your question is the issue of a merger is way bigger than the green jacket, way bigger than winning majors. It's going to involve regulatory issues, and I don't see a quick end to getting around those.
Ron, listen, the Big Ten's got how many schools now? Trust me,
217.
Exactly. I mean, so we don't necessarily. They could still call themselves LIV and play 72 holes. They really can. They could just say we're a new conference, and people go, "Oh, okay, we get it."
Yeah, they absolutely could, but I think that part of it's going to be, and for the life of me, I can't figure out how this other $3 billion the PGA Tour has gotten from these corporate entities is going to play into a possible merger with Live too. And I don't understand. It's hard for me to picture exactly what this is going to look like, because I don't think the Saudis are going to give up control of what they already have. I certainly know they're not going to open up their books to regulatory agencies, who are going to want to see exactly the flow of money through the organization. And, there's antitrust issues there that I just don't think they're ever going to provide the transparency that's going to be needed to get around those issues.
Ron Sirak. He covers golf at ronsirak.com and on the Golf Channel. Follow Ron on X at Ron Sirak, Sirak. Ron, thanks so much for your time. Stay dry, safe travels back, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Hopefully we'll see some golf later today. Talk to you down the road, my friend.
Ron Sirak, kind enough to join us. Right now, it's been pushed back to 10:10?
10:30.
10:30?
10:30. It looks like golf is going to start at 10:30 by the last little blurb that I had seen come across my phone.
So Jack and Gary and Tom Watson at 10:10 and golf at 10:30, which means they're 2.5 hours late? Because tee times are supposed to start at 8, which means, by the way, the last group of Fleetwood and that they're going to tee off at 4:30. So, they're going to get to maybe the 12th tee. Maybe. And they'll be done for the day. But how about that, by the way, if you get through 11 and then you got to come back tomorrow and your first shot's a tee shot on 12? Huh? Sleep on that. All right, let's switch to the draft. Chad Forbes, let's talk the NFL.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So the Athletics draft guide came out yesterday. It's 328 pages, David.
That's what I'm talking about.
They put them in threesomes, and the last group goes off at 4:30.
Right.
So in college, I was the sports editor at the student radio station. So, we did written stuff for the website, and I would have to edit it, AP style, all that fancy stuff. And we had this guy who would always do an NFL mock draft, and it would be so long and so much work. And it was just like I had to just go lock in at a Panera Bread or a coffee shop and just get it done. Because eventually some of the analysis just gets so redundant. Unless it's done very well, But going through 2 rounds of that, it's like, oh my goodness. And you got to fact check everything. You got to make sure he's got the height and the weight correct and what college they went to and stats. Maybe that's why I don't like mock drafts, David.
Why is that?
RCB, not to my knowledge. We've never had Mel Kiper, have we, David?
I don't believe so, no. Who was the guy who he did it with for 15, 20? Todd McShay. We had McShay on. Actually, hold on. Didn't John get him as part of in connection with a sponsor? Or did we just have what's his face, the comedian, do Kiper? Caliendo.
Was Caliendo doing Kiper when we had Caliendo on last? I don't think
he was. Maybe not.
Maybe.
Of all the things that we had on tape, if John had saved Caliendo's phone call to him that he left on his cell phone when Favre retired. God, that was gold. Make sure you call me back.
*4.
*4 on my cell. Golly.
Okay, I'm going to call him. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope your week is going well. Thanks for spending this Masters Thursday, this Frozen 4 Thursday with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. David Laurila. He covers Major League Baseball for a living. He will join us to talk a little baseball 2 weeks into the season. Hey, Marlins have a win for every week. He will join us in about 35 minutes' time.
They're going to need to pick the pace up a little bit.
You know, in football, a win a week is really good. Baseball, not so much, no.
No, it really isn't. Even 2 wins a week is not good in baseball.
No, even college baseball, you know, a win a week, not good. A win a weekend, not good. So, anyway, hoping to connect with Chad Forbes, talk a little NFL draft coming up here in a bit. 2 weeks today, baby, the draft in Detroit. Fired up. I'm starting to think I might have to go under on the trades. And we haven't established what the number is, but I don't know. I'm getting the sense that maybe not as much wheeling and dealing as in the past.
Just what you're reading, the tea leaves telling you you're not seeing trades?
Yeah, it just, you know, once the Vikings move up to get their quarterback, I mean, what other trades are we going to have in the top 10?
I don't know if we'll have any in the top 10, but I do see the middle part of this draft because of the lack of edge rushers. If that's what you need, you know, like you mentioned earlier, Pittsburgh going after the fourth wide. There's a big difference between the fourth wide receiver and wide receivers 5, 6, and 7. It all depends on how these runs go, on the runs of defensive players early, on the runs of tackles, and what your need is.
And we discussed earlier, there was a mock draft that I read yesterday in which the Steelers moved up from 20 to 12, and they moved up to get Brian Thomas, the second wide receiver from LSU. And that there's a thought amongst NFL people that while this is a very deep wide receiver class, that there are 4 that stand out. There are 4 that they think could be ones. And that there are a bunch of number 2s and quality 3 receivers. And they'll all go Thursday and Friday. A whole bunch of wide receivers are going out of the first 100 picks. But that there's a big 4. Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Odunze from Washington, and Brian Thomas. And then after that, there's just a difference between Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, right? Fair to say?
Exactly.
Yeah, one's a 1, one's a 2. So, you know, and so the Steelers aggressively move up because, you know, how far does Brian Thomas fall? I mean, you look at the draft. You know, the thought is Tennessee is not going to take a wideout. They've invested heavily in that position in trades and free agency. Atlanta's probably not going to do it also. Chicago at 9, the Jets at 10, Minnesota at 11. You know, if Arizona trades with Minnesota and moves down to 11, do they take a wide receiver? They got a lot of needs. You know, do you take the 4th best wide receiver? Or you take maybe the 3rd best offensive tackle? Do you take the 2nd best pass rusher potentially at 11? So, you know, how far down does the 4th wide receiver fall? What was the draft that the Bucks moved up to make sure that they got Wirfs? Because the thought was there were 4 offensive tackles and then there was a big drop-off. And once the run started on tackles, and I think the Jets took Becton at 11, and Tampa Bay was like, we got to get Wirfs. And it turns out they probably got the best one of the 4, and they got him at 14. But they had to move up to get him. But obviously it turned out to be worth it. And so, you know, that's, I guess, Mark, there could be that. If you draw the line at edge rushers, you know, if there's Dallas Turner and there's lot 2, and then there's, say, Verse of Florida State, and then you think once you get to Chop Robinson and the Robinson kid from Missouri and what have you, that that's the second tier, then, maybe you move up.
Well, to me, it's going to be the receiver or the defensive player because there seems to be an abundance of tackles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, if there's a trade for quarterback. But as far as the runs go, it's the run on the receivers, and to me, it's the run on the 3 because Chop Robinson keeps slipping on a lot of these boards.
Mm-hmm. Yep. In fact, Chad Forbes, who we were supposed to have on, he thinks at 26, in the latest mock that he's done, that Tampa Bay will have the choice between either Chop Robinson or Kool-Aid McKinstry, that they'll get either one, a corner or an edge rusher, sitting at 26. Okay.
But all it takes is one team to have a need, trade up, take that player,
right,
and then what?
Exactly.
And that's why when you were talking earlier, is it going to be a run? Both can be true. There could be a run on receivers, there could be a run on the edge guys, and it might not go the way people think it's going to go at all. If the Jets take Brock Bowers instead of a tackle, okay, then that opens the tackle position up for more teams, theoretically.
And if the Colts have their heart set on Brock Bowers, then what do they do at 15? Also, there are certain teams that, let's face it, do we really know what the Saints are doing at 14? Do we know what the Bears are doing with that second first-round pick at 9?
No.
They don't have a second-round pick. So when they're done at 9, they don't pick again till the third round.
Well, what's Tennessee doing at 7?
Well, a lot of people think they're taking Joe Alt. That the first 6 picks are going to be quarterbacks and wide receivers, and therefore they'll take Alt. And if they don't take Alt, they'll take Fashanu, the other tackle from Penn State. Say if the Chargers take Alt. That the Titans are going offensive line. They need a left tackle. They're going to draft one, plug them in, bada bing, bada boom. If you're Atlanta, what's Atlanta's big? Don't you think Atlanta's got to go best pass rusher?
Yes, I do, David. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
So is it Dallas Turner? I mean, is that the guy that you think's the best edge rusher? Do you think it's Verse? Do you think it's Latu? I know Jacksonville's hoping at 17. Jacksonville's hoping for one of 2 corners. Terrion Arnold of Alabama or Quinion Mitchell of Toledo. So if those 2 go before Jacksonville at 17, Jacksonville's going to be throwing things in their war room. Indianapolis wants Bowers to fall to them at 15. The Jags want one of those 2 corners to fall to them at 17. That's the stuff in which you're right, Mark. If one team, it's kind of like, how much blackjack have you played?
A lot.
You ever been at a table in which the cards have turned and they're in our favor? The dealer's getting hammered. All the right cards are coming. And one guy takes a hit when he's not supposed to take a hit. And that ace comes out, and that should have been the dealer's ace. And the dealer goes bust, and we all win. And because one person at that table took that card, now the next 4 hands, we all get destroyed.
No, that's actually when you get up and you walk away from the table. When the guy sitting in the hole there hits that 15 with a 3-up and busts.
Or 13, hits 13 with a 5-up. Right. Either way. But he takes the card when he's not supposed to, and it's late, and you just go, oh, what are you doing? And then you're right. You should get up and leave. But usually what we do is, we've been winning for 15 minutes, so we're not going to get up and leave. And then now we lose for the next 5 minutes, and it's like, thanks, buddy. And you're right. That's kind of it takes one pick in which all of a sudden teams go, oh, come on, seriously? They took a corner? You know, like if the Saints go corner at 14, Jags will panic.
Boy, you're right. There's another team, the Saints. What are they going to do?
Yeah, what are they going to do? Got a lot of needs.
You're right.
Don't have a third or a fourth round pick, by the way. So do you trade out of 14 to somebody? Like if you're Green Bay, your picks have picks. You're at 25. The Saints are at 14. Is there somebody there in which you go, I'll move up to 14 if so-and-so's available? I mean, is it an edge rusher? Is it a corner? Is it a shutdown corner? Here we go. We'll be moving on from Jair Alexander soon. Here we go. Draft that guy. Well, it's going to cost you a 2 and a 3. Man, that's fine. We got a bunch of them. You know, that's the stuff I'm hoping for. But, you know, right now that's the stuff I'm not hearing is going to happen. And I don't know, Mark. Team A's got a bunch of second, third, and fourth round picks. Team B doesn't have a lot of second, third round picks. Don't you think Team A would want to trade with Team B? And vice versa?
Which takes me back to why in the world, and I'm serious here, unless Arizona gets one hell of a deal with all the picks they have, I'm not sure they have a need to trade out of that spot.
Well, how about if this is the reason? Because remember, the mock draft that I was talking about, it was the Steelers moving up from 20 to 12 to get what? The fourth wide receiver, Brian Thomas. What if the Cardinals think, well, we can make that trade with the Vikings. We can move down from 4 and take 11 and 23 off their hands and also maybe get a first-round pick in next year's draft. And because we can get Brian Thomas at 11. Yeah, Harrison will go at, 5 or 6, and then a Dunze will go, and Neighbors then, the Bears will probably take Neighbors because they didn't think he'd fall, blah, blah, blah. But, we'll get one of the LSU wide receivers at 11. So we can make that deal. So we don't get Harrison, but we get one of the LSU wide receivers.
Yeah, I just wonder if they have Harrison ranked as the best player on their board and they're sitting there at 4 and get the best player that they think's available in the draft.
Wouldn't that be something that the Vikes want to trade up and Arizona and the Chargers both go, no, man, we're good.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So did Chad just not answer?
My flight just got delayed an hour. Probably the same weather that's holding up the Masters.
Probably. So Chad didn't answer?
No, called him 3 times.
And you definitely you got his machine. Hey, this is
Yep.
okay.
So must have just been a miscommunication.
No.
Or he just forgot. David, do you have a go-to pen that you use?
Well, until it runs out, yeah.
But like the kind of pen. A lot of journalism guys are into that. Debate about which pen is the best,
It's funny. I have found a lot of pens are not working for me. I wonder if it's the way I write or the pressure I put or the angle. But I don't know. So, but I actually like the pens that have the little soft spot in the middle when you hold it.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, nothing works like the old Bic pens.
That's my favorite. That's what I use in here. Are you guys Russell guys or Wilt guys? Neither.
I mean, I'm too young to really have any.
Right.
But I got to take the guy with all the rings. But Wilt did have all the ladies, so I mean, you get.
And also, they changed 2 rules because of Wilt. They didn't change any rules because of Russell. I will say Russell maybe had the best laugh ever.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of cool. Bubba Watson's daughter's a hell of a putter. At least she was yesterday at the.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, those were putts. Those weren't 3-footers. One was a 30-footer for crying out loud.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour." We'll talk a little baseball in a little more than 15 minutes. David Laurila will join us. Season 2 weeks old. That's if you don't count that 2-game series in Korea. Season 2 weeks old. And the Rays have twice as many that pitchers on the IL. And the Marlins in 2 weeks have 2 wins. So there you go. Things are going swimmingly, I think. Now, Brandon Lau also looks as if he's going on the injured list with an oblique injury. I mean, 13-0 last year. Boy, that seems a long time ago, doesn't it?
It really does. And yet they're hovering above 500.
Right.
It's almost like they're going to have a reverse of last year, David, where the Rays are going to have to figure out a way to get to July and just be treading water when the pitching comes back, the injuries they have now. I mean, they're going to have to really try to just survive the first couple months of the season.
We'll talk baseball in about 15 minutes. Hey, serious talk now that the Coyotes are going to move from Phoenix to Salt Lake City. Let me ask you a question. Forget them and that sport. Name me a franchise that you think could move, because I don't think the Phoenix, Arizona sports scene is going to bat much of an eyelash. Like, I guess today is the 15th or 16th or whatever anniversary. The Atlanta Thrashers ended up playing their last home game today, whatever year it was that they ended up moving. But the fan base didn't know it at the time. And then all of a sudden, 2-3 months later, they gone. Has Atlanta really missed the Thrashers?
No, they haven't. And I thought the Thrashers were going to be a huge success. I happened to work in Atlanta for a minor league hockey club at the AAA level, was outdrawing the Hawks on a nightly basis. Selling more beer than the Hawks, selling more food than the Hawks. The Hawks people hated it because they own the damn building. So I always thought hockey, the NHL would do well there. It didn't, and they don't miss it at all.
I don't think they do either. I mean, they've had a soccer team that's moved in, drawing, 70,000 where the Falcons play at Mercedes-Benz. I mean, Atlanta seems fine. Give me a franchise that you think they could get up and move. And honestly, the city would be like, well, that's a bummer. So where are we going for dinner?
Tennessee Titans.
No way.
No.
Are you out of your mind?
I mean,
it's an NFL
Are
team.
you nuts?
Maybe.
It's an NFL team. They're building them a brand new stadium. $2 billion. They're getting a Super Bowl.
Their second stadium.
Okay. We don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but
no.
The media there has a completely different take than you guys.
Okay, what do they say? That the Titans could move and Nashville would be okay with that?
The Titans don't have a whole lot of fans that are it's all tourism. It's all young people, implants. That's their fan base. It's not like I'm just saying, in the spirit of this question, if a franchise could pick up and move and the city wouldn't suffer a whole lot, I think Nashville.
The city, okay, I get you there. The city wouldn't suffer. I understand that.
They've only been there 20 years. You know what I mean? It's not like they've been there. Well, 30.
30. But we hear you. That's interesting because also as Mark pointed out, they're building them a second stadium in Nashville. I mean, is there a city that's thriving more in the last 15 years than Nashville?
Well, that's a whole different thing too with the stadium. The locals don't want that because it's going to cost a lot of money. Everyone else wants it.
Gotcha. I think it's the Charlotte Hornets.
That's a good answer.
I honestly, even though it's not like Charlotte has a ton of teams.
The Miami Marlins.
Wow.
I'll repeat that one for you in case you didn't hear it. The Miami Marlins could pick up and move tomorrow, and no one would give a rat's behind. Nobody.
He went there.
Come on.
That hurts. It really does. I feel like, when you get the kidney punch, not just not the punch to the gut. You can fight through the punch to the gut. It's the kidney punch that you can't make it through the 10 count. You're down. That's a 20, 30-second deal. That's always the knockout punch. Nobody survives a kidney punch.
I wish the Marlins were 11-2 instead of 2-11. Because I think my point would even be that much more stronger if they were winning. Because no one would be going anyhow.
They'd be 11-2, and they'd be getting the same draw, which is very minimal.
Bupkas. And I know they have an all-you-can-eat section, David, and I know that means a lot to you.
Well, it means I'm going to have to hit it soon. I mean, because now you got me thinking they could get up and move.
They're not going to because baseball wants them there so badly.
They do. International city, international sport. Right. They do. Mm-hmm. Wow. That hurts, though. Not going to lie. Because I don't think you're wrong. I think the city would be like, wow, man, I can't believe we lost them. That's a bummer. So where are we going?
Exactly.
But it was only a few years ago that answer could have been the Florida Panthers.
Not saying it still couldn't be.
Come on now.
Really?
I actually think they're establishing a foothold. I do.
Of Bruins fans that go to Panther games.
Oh, stop it. They're selling out on their own. Come on.
Win.
Got a really good team again.
This is
They're
the
a well-run organization for the first time. Come on now.
Is this the best Panthers team in history? Franchise history?
Last year's team, or 2 years ago, they won the President's Cup and got bounced. Let me just, just to see who's a little more accurate, because the Panthers, if they're an established franchise,
oh boy, here we go.
You'd be able to the big price of tickets for tonight's home game. They're selling fast.
Oh boy, here we go.
Well, there it is. I can get them in upper deck seats for $12 each for tonight's game.
Yep.
Oh, here's some lower bowl seats for $37 each. Yeah, I'm telling you, the Florida Panthers, an established franchise. The Heat and the Dolphins are established franchises in Miami. The other two could go away tomorrow and no one would give a damn. Nobody.
Okay.
I think, David, you're going hard over head on this one.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, I'm taking a loss here. It's just a matter of whether or not it's going to be a decision or whether it's going to be a knockout. So I'm going to ask one more question. What about the Rays? I actually think people would be bothered.
I think they'd be bummed. I don't know if they'd be bothered.
I actually think that it would create a little bit of angst. But Tampa would be like, well, we got the Lightning, we got the Bucks, we're good.
Played in St. Pete anyhow.
Exactly. I didn't think about the Florida franchises when I threw that question out there.
No, you probably didn't.
Wow. I may have to stop talking about the Arizona Coyotes or the Salt Lake City. By the way, what do you name them when they go to Salt Lake? Don't do like the Jazz when they went from New Orleans to Utah and you kept them the Jazz. They opened the first jazz club in Salt Lake City in 2021. I mean, come on.
The Salt Lake City Skiers or Sledders.
I'm just wondering, what do you name them? Can't keep them the Coyotes, can you?
No. I'm with you.
Sports Talk Radio in Salt Lake. Get on it. Need a name.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. And hockey's going to end up going to 36 in the next 10 years. That's what they're saying, thinking.
Where the hell else are they going to go? Houston, Portland, Quebec, and one more? That's dumb.
I agree.
That's dumb.
I'm trying to think of that like North Midwest area. What cities don't have teams?
Someone
Cleveland?
did text the LA Chargers. That's a good. Cleveland's never done well with hockey.
Okay.
Ever.
Well, they have the Monsters. Is that their
The AHL team, but they had the Barons in the NHL. But even their AHL teams have never done well there.
I didn't know they had an NHL team. The Barons?
Yeah.
It was okay. When was that?
I think it was the first expansion wasn't it when we went from the original 6 to 12? Wasn't the Cleveland Barons one of the teams, and then they went to LA?
I'll take your word for it. I never knew that. I didn't know Cleveland had a team. 36 is a lot. That's awesome.
No, they were California Golden Seals moved to Cleveland. They played in Cleveland from 76 to 78.
So the Golden Seals moved to Cleveland, not the other way around.
Right.
Got it. Then what did the Barons become? Did they just go away in the merger, or did they become something?
After 2 seasons, the team merged with the North Stars.
Gotcha. So they basically went away.
And then I think the Guns got the San Jose. That's how the Guns got this. Did they get the Sharks out of that deal?
They're the Dallas Stars now, I guess. Barons to North Stars to Dallas Stars. In 93. Okay, David, I need your help. San Francisco Giants, Texas Rangers. Anyone come to mind? Who played for both teams?
Well, Bochy managed both.
Got to be a player.
The World Series titles.
I can't think of anybody.
Also, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this guy's name.
I'll double check for you.
Will Clark, by the way. Bobby Bonds, Kenny Lofton, Carlos Beltran, Gaylord Perry. He didn't hear me, did he?
No. I think he's attempting to call the guest. He is calling the guest.
I'm going with Laurila.
He's checking it right now.
No.
Laurila, David.
Laurila. Okay, by the way, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Gaylord Perry, Will Clark, Bobby Bonds, Kenny Lofton, Carlos Beltran.
Doing Bobby Bonds for the fun of it. Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits for our loyal audience in the 239. Thanks so much for being with us. Masters delayed 2.5 hours, so the first tee times won't be till 10:30. Ceremonial start will be in an hour and a half at 10 minutes past the hour with Jack, Gary, and Tom. We're going to talk a little baseball now. David Laurila covers baseball. Fangraphs.com. Follow David on X at David Laurila, Laurila, and then QA. David Laurila, QA. David, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm doing great, working on my second cup of coffee in the morning, so I think I'm fired up and ready to go.
There you go. I got to say, before we get into baseball, I got to find out how you're a fan. I was looking at your Twitter bio, and just to rub it into our producer, who is a diehard Lions fan and a Michigan native, you're a Youper, but you're a Packers fan. So where did the Packers fandom come from?
Up where I grew up, guys, in upper Michigan. It's probably 60-40 Packer fans, I would think. Green Bay is closer than Detroit to most of the UP. So, yeah, a lot of cheeseheads up there.
We understand. Hey, 2 weeks in. All right, your thoughts. I mean, the Astros are 4-9. Bunch of pitching injuries. Pirates and Royals off to great starts. Your thoughts 2 weeks in, David?
Boy, my thoughts. You mentioned the pitching injuries. I hope there are enough pitchers left in the league to finish the season. I mean, my God, guys. I mean, it's insane. You know, you start going down the list of guys with elbow injuries this year, like, you know, Strider, Bieber, Cole, you know, Ohtani's not pitching, you know, Yuri Perez. I mean, that's a rotation. That would be the best rotation in baseball in history. And those guys are all out. I mean, it sucks for the game of baseball. You know, that your best pitchers aren't there and guys just keep going. And I don't think anybody knows why there are so many injuries, if it's just happenstance or if there is a specific reason.
David, is there anybody that you've talked to, anything that you've heard, any theory that you're buying on these injuries whatsoever?
Well, I think certainly It is how hard guys are throwing and how hard they're throwing and training to throw hard at a really young age. I work out of Boston. I'll be at Fenway Park tonight. I was in Pittsburgh at PNC for a few games this past weekend. And I was talking to a young Pirates pitcher named Jared Jones, who throws 98, 99, 100 miles an hour. He's in his early 20s. He's a rookie. And I was talking to him about how much he's changed as a pitcher since high school. And I was expecting to hear a lot about, with analytics, I've learned this about my pitches, et cetera, et cetera. And it wasn't that. He said, not really a lot has changed. He's just a little older. And I said, well, you throw harder. He said, not really. He said, if I'm remembering correctly, he said he threw 97 as a sophomore in high school. Which is insane. And this kid is 6'1", 180. I'm sort of pulling that, out of my backside because I haven't looked it up. He's not a big man. And it's just like, how can an elbow withstand that, at a young age, and just keep going. So I hope I'm not predicting accurately that his elbow blows up at some point in the near future.
Well, but David, doesn't every team assume that every one of their pitchers is going to have one Tommy John? I mean, baseball people we've talked to in the last few years, they assume that at some point every pitcher is going to have one Tommy John, and there are some organizations that like it when the guy gets it out in his early 20s, and then they can move on.
Well, I mean, but can you though? A pitcher just got hurt again and is about to have his third, and I'm
right.
I've not finished my second cup of coffee yet, so the name's not coming to me.
Right, I got you. Well, and DeGrom, has suffered one in coming out of college, and obviously suffered one now in the majors. So you're right. I mean, is it Bieber, by the way? No, Bieber.
No, actually, it's T.J. Antone, a reliever for the Reds, I believe.
There you go.
Who has fantastic stuff. But the funny thing, guys, with it being velocity, they're talking pitch clock now, and I kind of buy that the pitch clock doesn't help, that the guys have less time between pitches. I mean, as a fan, as a writer, I love it, but I don't think it's good for pitchers. They talk about the sweeper, but none of like the Strider, Cole, Bieber. I don't think they throw sweepers. But another guy I talked to in Pittsburgh, Marco Gonzalez, a lefty who was in Seattle for a long time. He throws 90 miles an hour. He's your classic crafty lefty. He had TJ, I think, in like the minor leagues. So he doesn't fit the profile of a guy who would get TJ. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe everybody in baseball is going to have TJ.
Who's off to the Yankees, obviously, I'll take them and move them to the side, but we've got the Guardians off to a good start, the Royals and the Tigers and the Pirates off to a good start. Which of these teams that maybe didn't expect a lot are you buying into for not keeping up necessarily where they're at, but when we're in September, we're still talking about them playing meaningful baseball?
That's a hard question. Baseball is so darn unpredictable. I guess maybe what you have to do is look at the central divisions where you don't have the elite teams. So you have a chance to contend if you're not great. The Reds aren't off to a great start, but they're sort of my pick there. Pittsburgh could be sneaky. They're 9-3. I saw them win 2 walk-offs while I was there. They have young talent, but I saw the Tigers there, and AJ Hinch, he is insightful. He said something interesting. I asked, how similar do you think your team is, how the Pirates are to your team? And he talked about how both teams are young and that young players, I forget his exact wording, the performance is going to be maybe a little volatile or inconsistent because there's to a certain extent learning the ropes. So, some of these young teams, it's hard to predict if they're going to be consistent enough, to win 85 games and go to the postseason.
David
Laurila. Yeah, maybe I'll take Pittsburgh as my dark horse, along with the Detroit Tigers.
David Laurila covers Major League Baseball for Fangraphs, fangraphs.com. Follow him on X at David Laurila, Laurila. David Laurila, QA. David Laurila, QA. Hey, give me a team you thought was going to be good that now 2 weeks in, you're concerned?
Oh man, I think it's really too early to want to answer that question. I mean, today is April 11th. I mean, so many crazy things can happen. You look at the inverse of that, guys. Is the Tampa Bay Rays last year with their start,
right,
was impossible that they're going to keep up. And they sort of fell back to earth. Trying to think. Conversely, the Washington Nationals, the year they won the World Series, got off to a slow start, and I don't think they were above 500 until almost the All-Star break. So I think it's really hard to predict that a team isn't as good or is better than you think it is. And I think this goes back to injuries. Guys getting hurt around the league are going to impact division races. So maybe that's a crappy answer to give, but it's sort of how I look at baseball.
Fair enough.
When you look at the Orioles, you've seen them up close now a couple of times. Obviously, last year, a tremendous year. I don't know if they can equal what they did last year, but are they in the position to at least attempt to equal what they did a year ago?
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because in the media scrum at Fenway last night with Brandon Hyde, with the manager, another reporter asked him about how good the team is this year. And he actually mentioned that their youth, that they're actually younger than they were last year. And that, could mean maybe more, peaks and valleys for them. Are they going to win 101 games again this year? No, I don't think so. That said, if I could be a fan of any team in baseball right now, I think I would pick the Orioles because their young talent is just so immense and will be for years. I mean, the 20-year-old kid, Jackson Holliday, made his debut at Fenway last night. And it was sort of an event. There were a lot of Orioles fans at Fenway Park really, grooving on that.
Well, they certainly have the prospects that if they want to make a deal for more pitching, they can. But David, if you had some pitching and your thought in spring training was, we'll probably deal these guys in around the trade deadline. With all the injuries, I mean, I'm not kidding. Do you maybe get rid of your guys in May and not wait till July because by July they might blow out their elbow?
Oh boy! I mean, I guess
we followed
the GMs with the crystal balls are the ones who are going to win this war.
But we follow the Marlins, and I'm serious. The Marlins obviously off to a horrible start, and if things stay bad, okay, if you're the Marlins, I mean, do you hold on to your pitching till the All-Star break? I mean, hell, you've lost two guys to TJ in the last few months. I mean, why would you hold on to your guys?
I mean, it's a tough call. I mean, the Marlins aren't as bad as their start. At least they wouldn't be if they were healthy. I mean, something that really intrigues me, guys, is Luis Arraez. A couple of batting titles in a row. He's hitting 250 in the early going. Again, it's the middle of April, but I'm really interested to see is Luis Arraez going to end up hitting 325 again? Because I'm a big fan of. Sort of old school baseball. I like paying attention to things like batting titles, which is really passé now, but I think it's kind of cool. So I will be following Luis Arraez.
Well, and he's another guy in which they're going to have to either likely trade or sign to a long-term deal, and the Marlins are not good at signing their players to long-term deals. He's David Laurila. He covers Major League Baseball for Fangraphs, fangraphs.com. Follow him on X, David Laurila QA, David Laurila QA. David, enjoy the rest of that second cup of coffee. Thank you for your time.
I might need a third, guys, but take care.
You understand. He's at a night game at Fenway last night, so early start for David. We get it. I mean, Mark, you said you woke up feeling heavy this morning.
Yeah, I felt soggy.
Right, that's right. I'm sorry, it was soggy.
Soggy.
Right.
Well, and it was the first really humid morning we've had. The weather has been so nice. And I felt like I was slapped with a wet blanket when I took Frank out for his morning walk. I said, uh-oh, it's here. That thick air is back, and where it will remain until late October, early November.
So did Frank give you a look? I mean, did he also, look at you like, hey, it's soggy out here?
I think so. He went to the third tree. That was the sign.
The walk was shorter. Hey, I'm sweating already. We got to end this. I get it. David Laurila joining us, talking a little baseball 2 weeks in.
The walk will have to be quicker in Augusta today if they try to get this in, because they will not tee off until 10:30 this morning. The last group's going off at 4:30. So they'll be finishing the first rounds tomorrow morning.
Darn right they will.
And because of that, you wonder how much golf they'll be able to get in tomorrow. How much they have to finish tomorrow will affect when they start tomorrow.
I mean, Mark, you know what they might have to do? I mean, they might have to, shotgun start it.
Stop it. And they're not sending them off both sides either. Would you stop it over there?
You might as well add some music to the proceedings. I mean, let's go. Norman's there after all. First time he's been there in 3 years. He said everybody's being nice to him. All right. We'll see. He had to get a ticket just like everybody else, They didn't. I mean, World Golf Hall of Famer, but, they treat him there like, whatever. Didn't win our tournament, so you're not that big a deal. It's true. Okay. 3 years ago, too, he had to get a grounds pass, a regular pass. He couldn't walk inside the rope, couldn't go to certain areas that you think Greg Norman would be allowed to go. That's all.
He didn't bring any of it on himself.
No. And we love Greg, but maybe a little bit.
And it wouldn't be like someplace like Augusta to hold any sort of a grudge over someone that they've got a problem with.
No. A couple of the LIV guys have been saying at their media sessions, like, there needs to be a better path to get into the Masters. And the Masters chairman came out and said, no, there's a clear path. Okay.
All kinds of them. We let in amateurs, the mid-am champ, the Latin amateur champ. There's a bunch of paths to get to this tournament.
Right. And they're like, besides, it's an invitational. We can, if you're good enough, we'll invite you. And they're trying to say, come on, like Taylor Gooch and a couple of these guys, they're not good enough. And the Masters is like, no, not this year. Maybe next.
Never heard of you. Miller and Moulton along the network. Have a great rest of your Masters Thursday. In the 239, the Diamond District bonus hour, that comes up next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
For me, Wes, it was Milo Hamilton. I was solo in Fort Myers, and we had Milo Hamilton on. He had written a book. It was before Mark and I teamed up. And, man, I thought I was asking layup questions, throwing them in underhanded. Hall of Fame broadcaster, broadcast Hank Aaron's 715th home run doing the Braves at the time. He was doing the Astros. I think we got him in 04 or 05 when they were, going to LCSs in a World Series. It was awful. He was cantankerous.
Mine was John booked O.J. Simpson's manager.
Mark nearly quit.
That's as close as I've come to quitting on air. And I will say, from a standpoint of a real guest that we had on, we had on Mark D'Antonio, the Michigan State coach, a couple years ago, and it was reasonably. He was terrible. And David let me open it up. I said, "You beat Michigan 6 times or whatever it was. He beat him. It was their one win that was more special than any of the others." No.
Coach D.
What a dud. And he lives down here. And I was bummed out because if he'd have been any good, he lives down here. We'd have loved to have had him on anytime he'd have wanted to come on.
And Mark even threw in, I'm a proud Spartan. I mean, he was fired up for the interview. Yeah.
That's where Izzo would come through for you. You say you're a Spartan, Izzo would jump right in.
We've had Izzo on.
I love Tom Izzo.
Oh, I remember we had him on twice. They were hosting FGCU, and we had him on the night before the game. He had literally just walked off the practice court, and we asked him an underhanded question about, how do they look and what have you, and he said, well, based on today, we're going to lose by 20. I mean, and it was great. And then, remember, who did we send to the Dickie V thing? And he got Aaron Andrews and Izzo for us in the lobby.
Might have been Gentry. Or it was E.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a group of college buddies who I'm still in touch with, just group text. And one of them is trying to get everyone to listen to this show. And he's like, you guys got to turn it on. They're like, their thing is snark, and they don't let Trent get away with half the stuff we let him get away with. Like, you got to tune in.
We did come at you pretty hard about the Tennessee Titans.
Well,
hard.
I kind of misunderstood the premise that you were getting at, but,
Well, no, but you did bring up an interesting point, though. There are many teams and what have you in which the national narrative is very different from the local narrative. That exists out there a lot. Wes, I don't know how it used to be with Mark and I, but I can speak for myself, and I think I'm speaking for Mark. The show ends at 10. I've forgotten it by 11.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this Masters Thursday, on this Frozen 4 Thursday. That's right. Some college hockey at 5 and 8:30 tonight, baby.
With a local flair to it. Gavin Brindley, Seamus Casey, both play for the University of Michigan, both homegrown products here in the 239.
Michigan in the semis, taking on BC at 8:30. Winner skates for the Natty on Saturday. Michigan's going to win, even though BC's number one in the country, because, see, the fix is in. See, when Michigan won the 97 football championship, when they shared it with Nebraska, 3 months later, you know who won the college hockey title? Michigan. Right. Well, they haven't won it since in both football and hockey. What did the football team just do? So what's the hockey team going to do? It's done. It's over. Got to bet the Wolverines. The other three
Wolverines, huh?
Yeah, got to bet the Wolverines. It's a done deal. The football team won, therefore the hockey team wins. That's every 26 years. That's how they do it. The other three teams in the Frozen Four, by the way, are the top three teams in the country.
Right.
So there, BU, BC, and who's the other one again?
Is it Denver?
I got it right here. Denver, yeah. Denver, right. BU at 5. BC, Michigan at 8:30. I think it's on the 4-letter network. So there.
I just tried to bet it, and I can't find it on the app.
Well, wait a minute. It can't be on the 4-letter network because they got the Masters this afternoon.
Right.
So it's got to be on the Deuce.
On the Deuce.
Huh. That's a bummer.
Relegated.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to get relegated, I mean, you know.
There are worse places to go.
Do they air better programming from 6A to 6P than the 2 days they air the Masters from 3 to 6?
No.
No, they don't.
They don't.
No.
I wonder how many, and just curious, 21,000 in the text line or in the Twitch chat room, those of you that went and got another subscription to your streaming services so you can watch Masters coverage. Because any of the featured groups, it's all on Paramount. And, you know, that's a service I don't pay for yet. And I won't for these 2 days. I can live with not seeing the Masters until 3 o'clock.
Wait, hold on. It's not on Masters.com?
Yeah.
And then can't you somehow, you know, using the stick or whatever, throw it up on the TV? Don't laugh at me, Trent. Okay. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. But I just know people use a stick and they take something that they're watching on their computer, and next thing you know, it's on their big screen TV.
They cast it using the stick.
My mother uses it for this show.
You got to get with the times, David. You would love it. It's convenient.
I do love it. You go outside, you grab a stick, you bring it inside. Next thing you know, you're putting shows from your phone right out of the big screen.
Not
TV.
only can the dog chase it, you can watch shows on your television.
Exactly. In fact, that's how you decide what stick you're getting. When the dog comes back with it, you go, well, this must be the stick. It's like those drug dogs. Well, I guess they got cocaine over there. Look at them. They're barking. Is this the stick? Damn right. Fido brought it to me. This is the stick. But anyway, Masters.com. I mean, do you have to pay for Paramount? Can't you just, you know, take that sucker and go from your laptop
We will see.
to your TV?
We shall see today. I will find out.
I can't believe that the Masters, you know, gave up airing it on Masters.com. I just think CBS.
No, they are. You're probably right.
So I don't think you have to pay for it. Our buddy Grant Boone, by the way, on Amen Corner for the Masters coverage there. He
Good
gets
gig.
Yeah, he's had it for years. He gets fired up too. He was in the booth next door the one year I worked the Masters. I could hear him constantly. I heard him all the time. It was funny. Because the soundproofing is not as good as you would expect it to be.
You know, and that's something I can relate to because in this building, there is
Right.
none. And
Exactly.
so, you know, Trent, the last interview, was having a conversation with 3 people.
In the hallway.
And so it seemed in the hallway.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was afraid you could hear it on air. That's how loud it was in this room.
Mark looked over here like, what is going on in that room?
Yeah, if by the second look, what I'm saying to you, Trent, is if they're not dropping off food,
Get them out.
get them the hell out.
Unless they have something
If
to
they've
provide.
got something to provide the show, they can stay as long as they want.
So there you go. You can just wear that shirt. If you have free stuff, you stay. Otherwise, out.
You're out of here.
Never mind. Doesn't the Masters have an app? So, I mean, you don't have to go Paramount.
I want to see how willing the Masters app is to let you cast it to a television. That's the one thing I don't know, because they can block that if they want to.
Right.
They can block that feature. And CBS was promoting the Paramount app for the Masters nonstop during the coverage.
Well, this just in, Mark. You know who owns CBS?
Well, yeah.
Paramount.
Right.
So, you
So
know,
I know, I
they're
mean,
kind of.
they were promoting the app and promoting watching the Masters on the app and the extra coverage and Amen Corner and all of those things.
Right.
So I didn't know.
Yep. CBS going to be sold here soon. They've been trying to sell for years. They're going to be sold here soon. You wait. In fact, I'll make you a bet. I'll bet you there's an announcement in the next month.
Well, I've been reading there's a lot of stuff that seems to be close. So I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, I think they're waiting until after the Masters. And, you know, this is Sean McManus's last week running the sports division and what have you. I think they'll just wait until after the Masters. Get the Final Four and the Masters out of the way, and boom, here we go. Don't know what it'll mean. I mean, all their sports contracts are locked in, you know, for years, except the Masters. The Masters is day to day. And, you know, you honk them off, they can go to NBC tomorrow.
Yeah, they like being on CBS, though.
They do. They do. Here's my thing, and I've actually asked this of pretty high-ranking people at CBS. First off, and you want to talk about a question that they really don't like the premise of. When you start the question off by looking right at the chairman of CBS Sports and you say, and I quote, "So let's assume you lose the Masters."
Oh, my goodness.
Exactly.
It is amazing. Gary must really have some pull around there.
He shakes his head. He just says, he's decent at what he does. He's harmless. And they look at him like, you have to travel with this guy? Yeah, but you put up with. He's like, yeah, 18 years I've had to deal with these conversations. It's a thrill. It's a dream. So I did. I looked right at Sean McManus and David Burson, and I go, so let's assume you lose the Masters. And after they cursed at me a few times and what have you, I said, let's just play along. I said, all those wires underground are yours. I go, do you get them back or do they just claim them as theirs? And they at least found it funny. They said, oh, man, you're right. I mean, all that stuff is ours. And I go, I'm guessing you'd lose all of it, wouldn't you? And they looked at one another and they went, yeah, I think we would.
All of it.
I think they'd just plug NBC's equipment into, their stuff. There you go. Yep, we're making the switch.
I'm fired up to get your dad's take when he's done because, David's been twice. It is, it's like no other place that I've been to. There's no equal to it. And I don't even mean sports. Disney doesn't clean their park the way the Masters has Augusta National clean. There's nothing about it that's not perfect. And your dad's not a huge golfer, but a big sports fan. So I'd be curious of his takes when he comes back.
All right. This is really going to expose me and in all my glory. And by glory, I mean in all my just incompetence. So first time I'm there, I had that moment, Mark. I don't know if you had it when you went. You had that moment where you just stopped and you looked around And it was somewhere in around first tee, 9th and 18th greens. And I'm just standing there and people are going by. And after a few moments, I thought to myself, there are no squirrels. How are there no squirrels? And so the whole drive home, I was thinking to myself, how in the world? I get the fake bird sounds. Okay, I do. I get how you could do that. Okay, how did you eliminate all the squirrels? I mean, think about it. There's a lot of trees, a lot of woods on that course. Look at the part of the country that they're in. No one's ever seen a squirrel. How is that possible? Honestly. There's no tract of land in this country, all right, that has that much woods and no squirrels, except for Augusta National.
Snipers.
How?
Squirrel snipers. I think they can clear them out, this year before the women's amateur tournament.
And they're actually probably there 24/7. They're in camo, and you can't see them. They come out of the woodwork. Snipe the squirrels.
But there are no snipers. That's the other thing. I'm waiting. Like, there are people, if you look closely, you're like, oh, they're going to grab the garbage. Oh, look at them. You can see also, you can kind of figure out who the plainclothes security are too. Okay, but there's nobody walking around. I mean, there's no AK. There's no AR-15 draped over anybody's shoulder walking around. There isn't. And you're like, how the hell is there not a squirrel? You're walking up 8. I mean, how is there not a squirrel on 8? There's woods on both sides. The hole's 570 yards.
No squirrels, David.
No squirrels. How? Don't get it.
I got nothing for you there. That's a hell of an observation.
No squirrels. I would love to know how they pulled that off. I really would. Listen, we all hire exterminators, okay? And next thing you know, you're sitting around, all of a sudden you go, son of a gun, that's a baby roach. How did that sucker get here? I mean, best exterminators in the world. We've all found a bug. We've all found a roach. How the hell did they get rid of the squirrels?
Must be where they hide the nuts.
I think it's a greater mystery than Phil and how he couldn't win the U.S. Open. I think it's a greater mystery than how Rory could go 10 years without winning a major. How the hell did they get rid of the squirrels? And no mosquitoes either.
Not hot enough for mosquitoes that time of year there, is it?
Okay. All right. But not even one? I don't know.
So no squirrels, no mosquitoes. Another reason you could call this place heaven. Sounds like they're doing something right.
Well, they certainly are. They're just not. It's kind of like the Colonel and the KFC secret recipe. They're just not sharing it with anybody. Be a hell of a company, though, if they did.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. We're listening.
So one of the many things that I have learned over the last 5.5 months is if the door for snark is even a centimeter open, David's breaking the door down. Talking to CBS executives about losing the Masters.
Just hypothetically. You got there.
So let's imagine a world where you lose the Masters.
I said, I have one unanswered question. And they go, really? Only one? I go, well, come on, you know. I go, so you lose the Masters. Sean McMahon is just like, starts having trouble breathing. It's like, are you serious? I'm like, come on, just play along at home.
My dad texts me, he says, sitting in the parking lot waiting out the delay, like a kid on Christmas morning. So fired up.
So I'm glad David went a little long with that because I was going to tell my favorite story from going to Augusta is when my dad went to use the facilities. And by use the facilities, I mean use the facilities. And he came out and he went, well, I'll be damned. There was an attendant right there. And I finished doing my business, and damned if he wasn't in there spraying the place down. And they're like giant mobile home portalettes. I mean, there's like 6 stalls. Now they have them everywhere. You did air conditioned mobile toilets, and they're air freshening it down. He's like, no, never seen anything like that before.
It's true.
That's pretty funny, Clark.
Have you guys been to any of the tennis majors?
I've been to Wimbledon.
Really?
U.S. Open.
My brother went to the U.S. Open last summer. Absolutely loved it. You've been to Wimbledon, huh?
Yes.
When was that?
1989?
8
or 9?
89.
Wait, so were you in high school?
College.
Were you studying abroad or something?
I did my summer in London.
Okay.
And my buddy's dad, we wanted to go to Wimbledon, so my buddy's dad got us tickets. And was actually lucky enough. It was because of the rains, it was one of the few times ever the men's and women's final were on the same day.
Really?
Yeah, I saw Steffi beat Martina. And then I saw Becker beat Edberg. Went to the semis the Friday before, waited online and got to see Edberg beat McEnroe.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Beat him in 3 sets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think 2 of them were tie breaks, though, weren't they?
The second one was.
Okay.
6-0, 7-6, 6-4.
Who did Becker beat in the semis? Was it Lendl?
I don't remember.
Yes, David.
I mean, think about who you saw. You saw Steffi Martina. You saw Edberg, Becker, McEnroe, Lendl.
I didn't see Lendl. I got in for the last set of the
Gotcha.
Edberg
McEnroe.
Were you a big Pete Sampras fan?
No.
No, really? Okay.
No. I was always an Agassi guy. Sampras was too boring for me. To me, Sampras was the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. It's all coming up. Our poll question is Masters related. We've not done a good job promoting it, I must say. Got it out there early. We just haven't promoted it. So, once again, a failure by us. What is it with us in a poll question? Honestly, we're decent at a lot of stuff. We're not good at poll questions.
We're usually excited to get to whatever it is next. And we may not revisit enough coming out of breaks.
I think you're right.
You know, we've got guests lined up. We want to get them right on the air.
Mm-hmm.
We're promoting our guest of what's coming. We sometimes fail to look back maybe as much as we should.
I think you're right. I do. We're always trying to move the show forward. All right. So the poll question, we're going to go Scheffler of the field, but I mean, come on. That's putting Scheffler in the same category as Tiger. I mean, come on. He's Scotty Scheffler, for goodness sakes. I mean, how many majors does he have? Yeah, come on. So we couldn't do that. So we threw in another option. Scheffler, one of the 13 LIV guys, the field 75 others. So Scheffler, LIV, the field. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. There you go. I voted for the field.
I did as well. I was hesitant. You know me and a front runner.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty tough to not take the field when making that pick. I do think Scheffler's on the last page of the leaderboard. Or first page of the leaderboard, rather.
Well, I think it'll be shocking if he doesn't end up on the final leaderboard. I mean, I really do. With the way he's playing, I think it'll be shocking. By the way, we've mentioned it, so it's going to be pretty windy today and tomorrow at Augusta. They say in the last year and a half, all right, the best player in the wind on tour has been Rory. That they've got, they got a stat for everything nowadays, and I'm just saying, they say he's the best. I find that hard to believe.
What's challenging, however, about the wind at Augusta is you get the swirls. And they say it's very difficult to read which, sometimes you think you're downwind, you're actually into the wind because of the way the wind swirls in the tall pines.
Mm-hmm. Scheffler and Schauffele both finished T10 last year, along with Morikawa. So, they have all those stats about you have to have a decent, if you're going to win, you actually have a decent finish the year before. Very few guys, basically you have to consistently play the course well. But here's the reason why we threw the LIV thing out there. Well, Rahm's a defending champion. He now plays for LIV. The two guys who finished second last year were Phil and Koepka. I'm sorry, Mark, where do they play?
They play on the Live Tour.
Okay, and then there was a three-way tie for fourth: Spieth, Russell Henley, Patrick Reed. Where does he play?
Not with his family, but on the Live Golf Tour.
Exactly. So, just saying, Joaquin Niemann, T16 last year. A lot of people like him. They think he's actually playing the best of all the guys on that LIV tour. So, that's all. Hideki was also T16 last year.
That's my pick for whatever. If it's someone not named Scotty Scheffler, that's who I'm going with.
And you put a couple shekels down on that, correct?
I put a couple shekels on it for a top 10. Or a top 5, rather, for Hideki. I didn't go nuts on the winner. If he
We
wins, I'll be
sprinkling?
better. Huh?
Are we officially sprinkling? Is
We
that what
got
you're
some.
doing?
We got some Schauffele money out there. We got some
Okay.
Hideki money out there.
Anything on Hovland?
No,
You're a Hovland guy, aren't
he's
you?
playing horribly.
He's playing horribly. He went back to his old coach like 2 days ago. Yeah, so let me get this straight. You're playing really well. You're like the 4th ranked golfer in the world. Why are you changing things? That was like Phil in 04. He had the best year of his life. And what does he do? He changes clubs. Well, at least he had a legitimate reason. He owed millions in gambling debts, and Callaway agreed to pay him off. But I mean, what the hell's Hovland doing?
But Tiger did it at the top of his game, changed his whole swing around. These guys are consistent tinkerers. They can't help themselves. If they think there's a better way to do it, they will use that method. And they are constantly experimenting with trying to change little things in their swing.
Koepka changed his putter last week. Shot back-to-back 77s.
Change it back.
Well, apparently he's like practicing with 2 putters this week. What are the odds he's going to – come on. When you're practicing with 2 putters at Augusta the week of the tournament, what are the odds that you're going to putt and play well? Although he is something. I don't know how you don't like Koepka. All right. Well, I could see actually how you don't like Koepka because he's arrogant and he's not politically correct. And I get it, but I don't know. Maybe it's why I like him. Did you see one guy asked him whether you could shoot 59 at this course?
Did you ever play this course? That was his answer.
Right. And he said, well, no. And Koepka goes, yeah, I think that's obvious. Come on. How can you not like that?
Yeah, for what it's worth, that's my pick. I put money on Koepka.
Did you really?
I did. Last night.
On the nose to win, or did you go top 5, top 10?
On the nose.
Attaboy.
He's been close twice. Took the lead in the Sunday last year. And the year Tiger won. All right, man. Whew. They were all close that year. DJ, Finau, Koepka. There are a whole bunch of names. They're all the who's who of the sport. Hey, it really did have a lot of similarities to Jack in '86 when you look back and that, Jack won by 1, and you took a look at all the guys who at one point were ahead of him on the leaderboard. They're all in their prime. They're all top 10 players in the world. It was the same thing with Tiger 5 years ago.
And they all had chances to win, and none of them could do it.
And just like Jack did nothing for the first 8. He was even par through 8 in '86. Tiger was what? Even 1 under for the day on the 12th tee? He's 2 or 3 back. He's doing nothing. He said, I can do this. I can finish from here. I know how to birdie these holes.
We did have Tiger earlier in the week as our poll question as far as making the cut. The majority of you think that he will be playing the weekend.
He would set the all-time record, right? If he makes a cut, it'd
Yes.
be what, 24 in a row?
Yes.
He'll make the cut.
I think he'll make the cut. I think I don't want to say it's the only thing he's playing for, but he's well aware of the record.
Is Tiger within 4 of the lead when we tee off on Saturday?
Probably not. I would say no.
Okay. The one thing that's encouraging to me, I know he's talking about, my ankle and my back. He's not limping anymore, though.
What time does he tee off now today? Because that's the big thing to me. Is he going to finish his round? He can't be playing more than 18 holes a day.
Boy, that's a good call, Mark. I thought he had like a 10:30 tee time, which would mean he'd tee off around 1.
And if that's the case, that's fine.
Yeah, because he'll get his round in. But that's what I want to see.
He tees off at 3:45.
Or
3:54, rather. He won't finish. That's a bad sign for Tiger right there.
That's a bad draw. That's a bad Open Championship draw right there.
So he's at 4 o'clock. The odds are he won't finish.
No, that's not good for him. It's not good for the old man.
No. Then he's got to come out, finish his round,
Early,
and play again.
finish, right. Mhm.
Which means he'll have to get up and stretch and get ready and then redo all the stretching exercises to get ready for his round. This is not what Tiger wanted.
Oh, maybe they'll let him use a cart. Help him out. No? Anyway. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts, couple of picks. We'll sprinkle a little something next.
On the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So because my first flight got delayed, now my second flight is rebooked, and I'm not going to get home till about midnight tonight. I'm going to be at the Charlotte airport for like 5 hours. We're going to put in a nice shift.
Oh.
I took those direct flights for granted. Oh, that was so nice.
You couldn't get it direct?
No, we looked at everything.
To Detroit?
No, to Grand Rapids.
Oh, gotcha.
And I would love to fly into Detroit. I love the problem is that's just extremely inconvenient for whoever's picking me up because I live 2.5 hours across the state. But I love the Detroit airport. Also, yes, Adam, the Harry Potter hat. This is my brother's. I wear it because it's white and it matches everything.
There's no relevant birthdays today. I'm just letting you know. I mean, I could say it's Brett Saberhagen's birthday, but who really cares?
I don't know who that is.
There you go. World Series MVP in '85. Won the Cy Young that year.
And he was like 21 years old. The Tigers game already postponed today.
I'm going to be bored out of my mind at this airport.
Yeah, you are.
Can't even watch the Tigers.
Charlotte Airport's down. I mean, there's Earnhardt Bar.
I'll look for it. I'm sure I'll locate it pretty quickly.
Yep.
There's 4 baseball games. I don't know if any of them will be able to see. Although the Braves, I'll bet the Braves are playing at 12:20.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the home stretch. Diamond District bonus hour on this Thursday. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. We'll look back at round 1 of the Masters, which will not be complete. Probably a third of the field won't finish their rounds today. I mean, you only have 89 guys in it. You know, 1 twosome, rest threesomes. I'll bet you there's at least 10 groups that don't finish, don't you?
That seems about right.
So they're delayed. Jack, Gary, Watson, 30 minutes from now, scheduled to do the ceremonial tee shots, and 50 minutes from now, first shots of the 2024 Masters. Tiger not teeing off to almost 4 o'clock. So you'll see every one of his shots.
Yes, you will.
Well, because doesn't coverage begin at 3?
Yeah.
Oh, so you'll see
You'll
every
shot
Tiger
he
shot.
takes, every shot that they put on air today. They probably will they let them stay late? Because usually it's what, 3 to 6, 3 to 7 the coverage.
Yeah, my guess is that you'll see it to the darkness. Would be my guess.
Is that being negotiated? And I'm asking, I can get to this stuff, whatever. Is that being negotiated right now? Was that already negotiated? I mean, when something like this happens, does ESPN get on their knees and beg to carry the tournament, or does Augusta say you will carry the tournament until darkness?
There you go. Okay, it's funny you use the word negotiation.
I'm sorry.
Right. No,
so ESPN begs to carry it, or Augusta tells them they're carrying it.
There's no begging involved. You just wait to be told what to do. That's all. No, I'm not kidding. No, I'm not kidding. I literally, CBS is like, so what are you guys thinking today? Well, we're thinking you do 4 hours today. 4 hours it is. Done. That's what we had agreed upon. We were just wondering if you changed your mind. No, stick with the plan. Plan it is, sir. Thank you.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Starting 1936 today.
Negotiations with the Masters. That's hysterical.
That's a good point. The Red Wings win their first Stanley Cup today in 36. Woo! 65, Jack wins his second of his 6 green jackets. And then in 66, he'd win his third because he becomes the first back-to-back champion, does so in a Monday playoff.
and they were two totally different. One, he, I think, won at 1 over, and the other, he won at what was the record for the longest time, like 15 under, 17 under, something like that. I mean, it was two totally different Masters.
Also today in 66, Sinatra records Strangers in the Night.
You know what? That holds up pretty well.
You do Sinatra, Trent? Are you
not really? It's not that I don't like it. I'm just not.
You need that girl from Appleton. Come back after. Well, yeah, you come back after a couple of drinks and throw on some Sinatra.
So when they did the Open of the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, I loved that. Yeah.
Okay, so To My Way.
Yes.
And so you were good with that. You're like, oh wow, this is cool.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. It's not my cup of tea. I like the.
Yeah, I know you
like to ramp it up a little bit.
I got you.
Yeah, well, because I'll tell you what, that the first time they do a Super Bowl and the opening number is To the Crew. Okay.
They could open to Kickstart My Heart.
Just going to say the same thing. LBJ signs the Civil Rights Act of 1968 today 1968. Ray Floyd would win his only Masters in 76. Seve wins his second in 83. Longer wins his second in 93 today. Olazabal, his second green jacket today in 99. Phil's first Masters and first major in 04. Phil wins his third green jacket today in 2010. And Matsuyama won his Masters today 3 years ago. I looked through the birthdays. There's, the Trevor Lindens and Brett Saberhagens. There was not a real significant birthday today that I thought I should feature for it. So what do you got, David?
The very first sporting event broadcast on the radio live today in 1921 by KDKA in Pittsburgh, a boxing match between Johnny Ray and Johnny Dundee.
Who won?
We don't know. I had the same thing, and it didn't have a winner. I'm going to say Dundee won it in 8.
Ray, who won the 10-round fight.
Damn.
Johnny Ray won 10-round decision.
Mock. Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
So blame KDKA in Pittsburgh for live sports on the radio, because apparently it went so well they broadcast the Jack Dempsey fight 3 months later. And, well, after that, Bally Sports, and it was on.
For the good today, we go to Colorado, where a book was finally returned to the library. It was due at the Fort Collins Public Library on February the 13th, 1919. That's right. The book was returned to the facility 105 years late. The library system says the book would have accrued $760 in late fees under the 1919 rate of 2 cents per day. But the library eliminated late fines in 2020.
That's it? You return a book after 105 years? It doesn't even cost you $800?
Right.
Wow. What do you mean they did away with late fees?
They did away with late fees. I don't know what to tell you.
What the heck? So you take the book out, you never have to return it? That's, pardon my, that's asinine. Do away with late fees.
Colorado.
What's the incentive? Well, not everybody's high. What's the incentive to return the book? Oh, man, the book's late. Ah, man, it doesn't matter. What do you mean it doesn't matter? No late fees.
No late fees.
Want to pass that joint? Thanks. I mean, no late fees. No squirrels at Augusta. No late fees in Colorado. What's more unbelievable?
For the bad, we go to North Fort Myers, where Anthony Daniels was arrested outside of his home on Tuesday. He got into an argument with a man who was hired to build a swimming pool. He asked the man to leave his house. Contractor said he was hired to be there and refused to leave. So Anthony knocked his ball cap off his head, which fell into the pool. Then Anthony went inside the house and grabbed a baseball bat and struck the contractor in the head.
Oh, man.
There's got to be a better way to get the guy to leave.
I would think so. I mean, offer him like a library book or something. He doesn't have to return it. Here, just no, take it. Nah, no need to return it. You're good.
Finally, the ugly, we go to Kentucky, where a Kentucky man admitted to faking his own death to avoid paying child support. That's right. Father of the Year Jesse Kipp pleaded guilty to computer fraud and identity theft. He used a computer to access Hawaii's death registry system and created a fake death certificate for himself to avoid paying child support fees of more than $100,000. Now he's got to pay back all the money that he ripped off in other computer fraud. But he owes $200,000 to the various agencies that he wronged. Faked his own death to avoid paying child support. And that is the good, the bad, and the Father of the Year ugly on today, April the 11th, 2024.
Well, that means you can never see your kids again, right? I mean, if you're saying you're dead, then you can never. This
isn't you during a Giants game saying, act like I'm not your father for the next 17 minutes.
Right, but I didn't say pretend I'm dead.
No.
No, I just said pretend as if you just don't want to claim me. But I mean, this is, if you say you're dead, Mark, this just in, you can't just show up somewhere. I mean, unless it's a soap opera.
Correct.
Right. Unless you're Stefano on Days of Our Lives. Hey, we got 5 games in the NBA, and 2 of them are going to be on TNT. They're actually the only 2 that have any kind of playoff seeding implications, really. Knicks and the Celtics. The Celtics have put like their whole team on the injury report. Listen, the whole team is questionable.
I say we bet the Knicks. Let's bet the Knicks.
I was going to say the Knicks are trying to be the 2 or at least the 3. Here's the funny thing. Joe could be on the Knicks because the Knicks could finish strong here and finish as the 3 seed. And the Sixers are trying really hard to get out of the play-in and finish with the 6 seed.
And
how about that if you're the Knicks?
Don't have Julius Randle for the rest of the year.
Right. And then you play the, Embiid back healthy Sixers in the first round. Joke's on you. But New Orleans, Sacramento. New Orleans is the 6. Sacramento's the 8. And they're playing. New Orleans only half a game ahead of Phoenix, trying to stay out of the play-in. Sacramento trying to avoid falling into the 9-10 game, and they're only a game ahead of the Lakers in the loss column. And only a half game further ahead of the Warriors. So that's your TNT NBA double dip. 10 games in hockey. Needless to say, in the East, it's a mess. Now, you got Tampa's at home for Ottawa. Florida's at home for Columbus. They should both win, blah, blah, blah.
Highly established franchise, the Florida Panthers.
Exactly. Mark has them moving, ladies and gentlemen, last hour. So, no, he said they could move. In fairness, he didn't say they're moving. He said they could move. Nobody would care. So the Wings are in Pittsburgh. It seems like a big game for both.
It's a really big game. It's a big game in my household. I am going to try desperately to win the daughter over tonight.
Okay. Has the daughter taken your side in a single sports dispute with your wife?
I have her on the brink with the Wings because I've been watching the Wings a lot. And so she's been watching the Wings and she roots for them with me.
Yeah, but that's when you two are sitting on the couch. When the wife joins the room, whose side does she on?
We'll find out tonight. My guess is the wife's.
I was going to say, I don't think she's gone with you one time. When you two go head to head in a sports match, she always sides with the wife.
I know.
Why don't you hold that against her, by the way?
My daughter?
Yeah.
I don't hold anything against my daughter.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's time to come on now. And I think you need to bring that to her attention. You got to say, listen, if you're going to keep thinking you're going to get your way with me all the time, you got to side with me on one of these disputes.
These are incredibly valid points. I'll miss the first 2 periods because, it's a Thursday night, and that says kids softball game at 7:30.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need
There's
more
nothing like,
nighttime.
let's start the game a little later.
Right. We need more 9 and 10-year-old softball at night. That's what we need.
Right.
Yes. Flyers are at the Rangers. Flyers are trying to make the playoffs. Rangers trying to clinch the 1 seed. Washington's in Buffalo. And your Wings and Penguins there are chasing the Caps. Islanders are also home and against Montreal. They should win. So anyway, a lot of pressure. I think the loser of if that game's decided in regulation, Wings Pittsburgh, the loser's done.
Probably Detroit ends with back-to-back with Montreal. So there's a possibility of 4 points there. So, but I
need a point
I think
tonight.
they gotta
minimum.
get a point tonight.
Need a point tonight minimum. Baseball, only 7 games, one of which has already been postponed. That's the Tigers at home for the Twins. There are 4 of the 6 remaining games are in the afternoon, including Mets Braves at noon. Huh? Little mighty nooner there. Find it somewhere. Streaming service, something. Go outside, grab a stick. Okay? Take the stick, touch your phone. It'll end up on the TV. That's how you use the stick. No?
I can't. I can't do it. Not enough time left in the show today.
Maybe that's why I can never get anything from my phone onto the TV. I keep rubbing it against a stick. Huh.
I just want a letter to come to David from the condo saying we are ending cable service. You will all have to. We are becoming a cord-cutting community.
Options.
And you will have to start tomorrow on your own.
Well, guess I'll have to do without TV for the rest of my life.
Miller and Moulton. Miss any of the show? Go to millerandmoulton.com. Download it or download it at any of the usual places. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. We'll talk some NFL draft with him.
And no Trent tomorrow. He's out of here. Good luck with your tests. We'll see you again on Monday. And we'll be back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Join us then.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because